Chapter 32-24. 1 second to remember love on you reading / book wonderful. No pop-up window free reading. What's going on with this ring? Night Sorrow took the cage and ring that had been refined into Dharma artifacts, and then checked the items in the ring. He found that there were many resources inside. At this moment he snorted coldly. Lord Messenger, this is a gift from the Tianshao territory to you. The Tianshao Sacred Lord was actually extremely angry after being reprimanded. However, he was very shrewd and suppressed his emotions as he asked back. My god race doesn't lack resources at all. What's the use of giving me these? Don't forget how you guys advanced. Night Sorrow said with a disdainful smile on his face, appearing extremely arrogant. Then, without giving the Tianshao Sacred Lord a chance to speak, he looked at the Blood School Scythe and said, Blood School Scythe, check the cultivators in the cage. See if you've seen them before. Yes, Captain. Blood School Scythe took the cage that had been refined into a Dharma artifact, checked it, and said loudly, Captain, there's not a single female cultivator in the cage. That's not right. Logically speaking, the male cultivators who ambushed us are all here. How can there be no female cultivators? Tianshao Sacred Lord, what's going on? Hearing this, Night Sorrow looked at the Tianshao Sacred Lord and asked. In fact, he suddenly thought of Blood School Scythe's words. They deliberately did not want resources and wanted female cultivators, making the Tianshao Sacred Lord feel that they had come to cause trouble today just to get a few female cultivators. This was also in line with the character of the heaven-deceiving alien race. So you're not here to find the murderer, but to take the opportunity to blackmail female cultivators and prepare to molest them. A bunch of beasts. Night Sorrow and Blood School Scythe's behavior made the Tianshao Sacred Lord feel that he had grasped the main point. He secretly despised them in his heart and slapped his forehead. Lord Messenger, it's my negligence. I'll order someone to bring the female cultivators who assassinated you here. Go. Night Sorrow snorted coldly. Not long after, the Tianshao Sacred Lord appeared again with a cage containing more than 10 female cultivators. After taking over the cage to investigate, Night Sorrow discovered that these female cultivators were all female disciples of Heavenly Owl territory. He thought to himself, this Heavenly Owl Holy Lord is really shameless. In order to protect himself, he even sent out the female disciples of his territory. After that, he checked the cage again and found the first Vice City Lord of the God Realm's territory, and Supreme Ancestor Phoenix inside. There were also 5 or 6 other Supreme Martial Artists. Night Sorrow immediately transmitted his voice. Senior Ancestor Phoenix, how many people were captured in the God world? Are they all in Tianshao territory? Night Sorrow, you're back. The eyes of Supreme Ancestor Phoenix, who was already extremely weak, instantly lit up when she realized that it was Yi Shang who had sent the voice transmission. It's me. I'm here to save you. Ancestor Phoenix, it's like this. Hurry up and answer my question. Time was of the essence. Night Sorrow could only make the long story short, and let Supreme Ancestor Phoenix answer the question. Hearing this, before Supreme Ancestor Phoenix could speak, the first Vice City Lord said, Supreme Ancestor Phoenix is injured and is not in a good condition. Let me say it. Then the first Vice City Lord began to talk about the God World's territory being attacked and how they were captured. Originally, most of the people in the God World's territory were with the people in the 9 mystical territory. Under the protection of Supreme Longevity and the Coiling Dragon Spear, they had already retreated in advance when the Heaven Deceivers launched a large-scale attack. As for the first Vice City Lord and Supreme Ancestor Phoenix, they were originally with Supreme Longevity and the rest, but they wanted to return to the God World's territory from the Grotto Heaven, and inform the others to escape. However, on the way, they were captured by Tianshao territory's people. In that case, the people left in the God World's territory should have been captured or killed. Hearing this, Night Sorrow instantly felt terrible. There aren't many people in the God World's territory. Other than Supreme Golden Crow, there are about 10 other sovereigns. The number of casualties should be about 10. This can be considered a blessing in disguise. The first Vice City Lord said sadly. Before the fog could attack, the eternal Supreme World was almost destroyed by the Heaven Deceivers. This made him very sad. However, He was glad that the losses in the God World's territory this time weren't too great. What? Senior Golden Crow died, or was he captured? Hearing this, Knight Sorrow's heart skipped a beat. The Supreme Golden Crow was a senior that he respected greatly. He would not be able to accept the death of the Supreme Golden Crow. The ones in charge of attacking the God World's territory are Tianxiao territory. Since Supreme Golden Crow isn't in the cage, he either escaped or was killed. The first Vice City Lord said helplessly. Originally, he and Supreme Ancestor Phoenix had brought people to inform Supreme Golden Crow and the others. However, they were intercepted by Tianxiao territory's people on the way. As for what happened when they attacked the God World's territory, no one knew at all. If he didn't escape, then he died. Tianxiao territory and the Heaven Deceivers attacked the God World's territory together. No matter how strong Supreme Golden Crow is, it's hard for him to escape. After thinking silently for a while, Knight Sorrow's heart ached. He knew that Supreme Golden Crow was most likely dead. He, who had already rescued the person and was preparing to escape, immediately changed his mind. He transmitted his voice to Tian and I. Listen to my orders. I'm prepared to kill this Tianxiao Sacred Lord here and avenge Supreme Golden Crow. Good. Today we don't want a civil war. We also want a martial war. We must give this scum of Tianxiao territory a fatal blow. Tian and I immediately responded. He also heard the first Vice City Lord's words and knew that Tianxiao territory helped the Heaven Deceivers to attack the God World's territory. Lord Messenger? Are you still dissatisfied? Just as Knight Sorrow and the first Vice City Lord were communicating, Tianxiao's Sacred Lord suddenly spoke. He realized that Knight Sorrow was distracted and was afraid that he would make other plans. Knight Sorrow, who was interrupted, immediately withdrew his mind and looked at Tianxiao's Sacred Lord. Dissatisfied? There are some. However, Sacred Lord can lend me something to solve this matter. Oh, Lord Messenger. What do you want to borrow? There's no harm in saying so. Tianxiao's Sacred Lord looked at Knight Sorrow and cursed his greed in his heart. At this time Knight Sorrow sneered and said, I'll borrow your head. You're pretending to be a cultivator of the Heaven Deceivers. How dare you come to my Tianxiao territory to cause trouble? They watched as Yishang suddenly released his divine domain and killing intent. This divine domain was clearly different from the aura of the Heaven Deceivers. He immediately determined that Knight Sorrow was a cultivator from the eternal supreme world. At this point he already knew that Knight Sorrow's goal was to save the person in the cage. He immediately felt somewhat vexed. Senior Tian and I, Ape Tianlai, come out. This Tianxiao Sacred Lord must die today. After the Sky Owl Sacred Lord finished speaking, he attacked Yishang. Yishang summoned the heaven-defying bead and Ape Tianlai. The three of them attacked Tianxiao Sacred Lord together, preparing to kill him before alerting the others. Chapter 32-25. You want to kill me in the Sky Owl territory? Let's see how many heads you have. The Sky Owl Sacred Master said disdainfully after unleashing his attack. He didn't care about Knight Sorrow calling people out at all. It doesn't matter how many heads we have, as long as we can take your head. Knight Sorrow had already activated the Treastrimsa Battle Mystic technique and activated the Green Phoenix battle armor. At the same time, he took out the ancient coffin and threw it at the Sky Owl Sacred Lord to block his attack. This is. The Sky Owl Sacred Lord, who had been blocked by the ancient coffin, was stunned. This ancient coffin looked very similar to the one that had walked out of the Sky Deceiving tribe. This scared him so much that he wanted to turn around and flee. You want to flee? With me here. Do you think you can escape? The Sky Owl Sacred Lord was stunned by the ancient coffin that Knight Sorrow had summoned and was preparing to flee. The heaven-defying bead, who had just come out of the grotto heaven, immediately transformed into a sword and attacked. What? A half-step Supreme Realm expert. How is this possible? The Sky Owl Sacred Lord panicked when he noticed that the heaven-defying bead was a half-step Supreme Realm expert. He didn't have the courage to fight at all. At the same time that he activated the array inscriptions in the guest hall, he used his strongest movement technique and prepared to charge out. You want to escape from me at such a close distance? Aren't you just deceiving yourself? The heaven-defying bead laughed disdainfully when he saw that the Sky Owl's sacred lord wanted to escape. When he transformed into a sword, his normal attack was about the same as when he used an ultimate technique in his human form. How could the heavenly owl's sacred lord withstand this attack? He was directly sent flying by this attack. Kill him directly. Don't show mercy. Night Sorrow shouted when he saw the Sky Owl's sacred lord being sent flying by the heaven-defying bead. He used the ancient coffin to smash the Sky Owl's sacred lord. Ape Tianlai also swung his divine weapon and smashed it over. After being bombarded by the two of them, the heavenly owl's sacred master was immediately delayed in getting up. Under such circumstances, the heaven-defying bead had already prepared his strongest attack. He suddenly blasted it out. When the heaven-defying bead's attack ended, Night Sorrow discovered that the heavenly owl holy lord had been instantly killed. After putting away the Sky Owl's sacred lord's spatial artifact, he took out the scroll of the hidden mission and confirmed that it had been completed. Night Sorrow took out the lower half of the Eternal Divine Tower and said, "Convert it into energy." "Alright." Little Seven immediately responded as a representative. Then he put the Sky Owl Saint Lord into it and said, "Absorbing an expert at the peak of the upper heavenly sovereign level will give you a lot of resources. Although it won't help you directly advance to the half-step heavenly sovereign level, it won't be far off. This is definitely a great harvest. The harvest doesn't matter. I'm doing this mainly to avenge Senior Golden Crow." Night Sorrow said, then used the sea serpent's eye to observe the surroundings and said, "Sky Owl's sacred lord has already informed the others and activated the formation patterns. We have to leave quickly." "Don't worry. This parlor's array patterns can't trap me at all." At this moment, the heaven-defying bead said something and soared into the sky, directly blasting open the roof of the guest hall. Then he shouted, "Enter my space and I'll bring you all out. Sky Owl territory can't trap me." "Alright. Let's go in." After the heaven-defying bead finished speaking, Yin Tianlai was a little hesitant. However, Night Sorrow didn't hesitate at all, and took the lead to enter the heaven-defying bead's space. He basically trusted the heaven-defying bead 100%. After Night Sorrow and Yin Tianlai entered, the heaven-defying bead laughed and said, "I think that if Sky Owl territory doesn't have any half-step Supreme Realm experts, we can kill a few more and leave." Night Sorrow said, "Although the people of Sky Owl territory aren't a threat, if I'm not wrong, the people of the Heavenly Deceiving Tribe will definitely come. We have to leave quickly." "If we leave this place, where will we go?" The heaven-defying bead didn't refute Night Sorrow's words. He asked about the future of Night Sorrow and the others. "We'll look for Supreme Longevity and the rest here, as well as Senior Yen. If we can't find them, we'll return to the foggy area. I'm too strong now, and I don't have the ability to kill all of the Heavenly Deceiving Tribe. So, we have to go back and increase our strength as soon as possible." Night Sorrow said helplessly. At present, whether it was Supreme Longevity and the rest or Yin Jizuan, it was very difficult to find them. He didn't have much hope. At this moment, the heaven-defying bead said, "How about this? You and Yin Tianlai return to the foggy area. I'll stay here and look for their whereabouts. What do you think? Anyway, it's very difficult for my strength to increase in a short period of time." That's good too. But we'll talk about this after we leave this place." Night Sorrow felt that since they had killed so many Heavenly Deceiving Tribe members nearby, those Heavenly Deceiving Tribe members should catch up soon. "Alright. Then I'll bring you guys away. What do you plan to do with those Heavenly Deceiving Tribe members who surrendered?" The heaven-defying bead asked as they rushed towards the periphery of Sky Owl territory. The many experts of Sky Owl territory continuously bombarded it with the help of the sex array formation. "I haven't considered this problem, but it's best that the few of them stay. After all, they can help us understand about the Heavenly Deceiving Tribe." Night Sorrow said and summoned 2 Heavenly Deceiving Tribe members. He placed them in the heaven-defying bead space and said, "I'll leave these 2 for you, Senior. You can ask them some things about the Heavenly Deceiving Tribe." "Okay." The heaven-defying bead replied and blasted out a few beams of light at the many cultivators who intercepted him. These beams of light were all half-step to Supreme Realm attacks. Although they looked simple, when they reached, They exploded with great power. The Grand Elder of Sky Owl territory was almost blown to death. They were so frightened that they didn't dare to chase anymore. They allowed the heaven-defying bead to fly directly out of Sky Owl territory. Not long after flying out of Sky Owl territory, the heaven-defying bead said, "The heavenly deceiving tribe members are indeed here. There are about 10 teams. The leader is an upper heavenly sovereign. Should we take action?" 10 teams, that's about 100 heavenly sovereigns? Hearing this, Night Sorrow immediately asked. The total number is more than 100, but they've all split up into teams and traveled separately. If we want to attack, there's still a chance. The heaven-defying bead explained. If the other party had more than 100 heavenly sovereigns, even a half-step to supreme realm like him wouldn't be able to handle it. Naturally, he had no intention of attacking. Since that's the case, let's find a chance to get rid of 1 or 2 teams of heavenly clans. Convert them into energy. I'm just short of some energy to break through to half-step to heavenly sovereign. After hearing the heaven-defying bead's explanation, Night Sorrow immediately replied. Then I'll look for a weak team to attack. After getting Night Sorrow's confirmation, the heaven-defying bead changed the direction of his flight and flew towards a small team of heavenly sovereigns led by a middle heavenly sovereign, blocking their path. Chapter 32-26. Who knows how many people these bastards have killed in the eternal supreme world? If we can kill them, we can't let them go. Ape Tianlia's eyes were filled with murderous intent as he looked at these alien races. It was these heaven-defying alien races that had turned his long-awaited return into a form of torture. Brother Ape, don't be too agitated. Once we go back and increase our strength, we will definitely chase these alien races out. No matter if it's the heaven-deceiving alien race or the people of the foggy area, none of them can destroy our home. Night Sorrow transmitted his voice to Ape Tianli before they were ready to attack. At this moment, the alien race team was getting closer and closer. At this moment, the heaven-defying bead said, "Prepare to attack." Then he released Night Sorrow and Ape Tianli. "No hurry. Let's wait for them to get closer before we attack. I will give them a gift." After saying that, Night Sorrow set up a 1382-098-3162 concealment array. Within the concealment array, he began to brew the Nirvana Heartfire that he had learned from Su Lei. When the heaven-deceiving races team flew back, he immediately used this move. The alien races who were unprepared were all hit. They have been hit by my Nirvana Heartfire, and their strength is greatly reduced. Let's kill them. When the Nirvana Heartfire that had been brewing for a long time hit these alien races, Night Sorrow suddenly transmitted his voice. Then together with Tian and I and Ape Tianli, they charged towards these alien races. With Tian and I, a half-step to the Supreme Realm, these alien races who were hit by the Nirvana Heartfire were all killed very quickly. After the lower half of the Eternal Divine Tower absorbed the energy of these alien races, Tian and I suggested, "It's so easy for us to kill one team. Why don't we kill all the alien races nearby before leaving? What do you think? We can kill more, but there's no need to take such a huge risk for these alien races. Tian Shao territory will definitely report the death of Tian Shao Holy Lord to the alien races. If they hear that there are half-step to the Supreme Realm experts here, they might send out forces that we can't fight against." Night Sorrow analyzed. Then, under Tian and I and Ape Tianlia's strong request, they killed another 3 alien race teams. Only then did he leave the vicinity of Heavenly Owl territory. When they were far enough away, Night Sorrow left with Ape Tianli, while Heaven Defying went to find Yin Jizuan and the others. After the Heaven Defying bead left, Night Sorrow did not bring Yuan Tianli to the foggy area. Instead, he put Ape Tianli into the space paradise and headed to the God World to find the passage to the God World. After returning to the Divine World to take a look, he confirmed that other than the heavenly demons from the ethereal mountain range causing trouble, there were no other problems. After that, he left the Divine World and headed to the Fog region. To Night Sorrow, the most important thing right now was to increase his strength. After reaching the foggy area, Night Sorrow began to absorb the dark energy of the ancient coffin. Ape Tianli was the same. After absorbing the dark energy, Ape Tianli said, "Night Sorrow, Do you still remember what I told you last time? What is it? Night Sorrow asked curiously. It's about helping my clansmen recover. Ape Tianlai looked at Night Sorrow and said nervously. You can, but if you purify them now, they won't have an environment to continue growing. That's not good. After all, you can cultivate normally in the foggy area because of my power of merit. If you purify them now, your clansmen will only be able to move around me. That's equivalent to restricting their freedom. Night Sorrow analyzed and said, that's why it's best to purify them before the war starts. That's the most appropriate way. You're right. If we purify them now, we might as well let them continue to increase their strength in this state. Ape Tianlai agreed with Night Sorrow's analysis. After that, Night Sorrow brought Ape Tianlai back to the Killer Heaven Academy. When they reached the area controlled by the Killer Heaven Academy, he immediately went to find Yun Yi and the others. He wanted to see how they had developed over the past few days, and whether they had established their own forces. When he arrived, Night Sorrow realized that Yun Yi and the others had already built the palace. The mountain peak was already in shape. Not bad. It's already quite large. I wonder if they've already recruited enough people. Night Sorrow said with interest as he looked at the palace below. They should have recruited quite a few people already. Otherwise, why would they build so many palaces? Ape Tianlai said with a smile as he floated in the air and looked at the 12 palaces. Let's go. We'll know when we see it. Night Sorrow said and flew down. As he wanted to test the array formation defenses on Yunye's place, he didn't transmit his voice to the others. As they flew down, Yishan was instantly astonished. There was no array formation on Yunye's mountain peak. Why is there no array formation? Isn't this equivalent to opening the door wide? After observing for a while, Night Sorrow was surprised. He realized that there was no array formation on the entire mountain peak. Yeah. How strange. If they don't even set up an array formation, who would choose to join them? Ape Tianlai said doubtfully. Let's go ask Yun Yi what's going on. He definitely wouldn't be able to guess anything, so Night Sorrow activated his soul power and searched for the location of Yun Yi and the others. After searching, he didn't find a single outsider. When he found Yun Yi, Night Sorrow immediately asked, Brother Yin, why didn't you set up an array formation? I get angry just thinking about it. We've set up more than 10 arrays, but each time, it was maliciously destroyed. And we don't even know who did it. Before Yun Yi could speak, Xian Yan said unhappily. Then Yun Yi said angrily, someone must be deliberately playing with us. They have the ability to destroy arrays and should be able to kill us easily. But they didn't do that. He was very unhappy that the arrays were continuously destroyed, and they couldn't find out who did it. Then someone must be maliciously targeting us. I think they're not targeting you, but me. It's very likely that Lin Dongqing's men are secretly attacking. Night Sorrow speculated and continued. Next, I'll set up the array formation. Let's see if they still have the ability to destroy it. If they can't even set up the array formation, it'll be difficult for us to gain a foothold here. Follow me back to Lu Tian Academy directly. All right. It looks like that's the only way now. Yin Yi said unwillingly, but he didn't have a better idea now. Lin Dongqing, who has a grudge with me, has a big family behind him. They should be the ones behind it. Night Sorrow began to set up the array formation after he finished speaking. He set up the 5-bull array and other trapping arrays consecutively. After he was done, he looked at Yun Yi and the others and said, This time I'm not setting up a defensive array formation. It's meant to deal with cultivators. If they try to destroy it again, they'll definitely fall for it. All right. Then we'll wait for them to take the bait. This time we must teach them a lesson. Yun Yi said angrily. Chapter 32:27. Of course we have to show them some colors. But we don't know when they'll appear, so we don't have to keep paying attention to them. Let's do other things for now. I'll let you know if anything happens. Yi Shang knew that Yun Yi and Xian Yan were infuriated and wanted to catch them, so he comforted them. Sigh. We're too impatient right now. We don't have the mood to do anything else. Yun Yi shook his head. Xian Yan was the same. He said unhappily, We've already formed a knot in our hearts. We'll just wait in the spell formation. Brother Yi, go ahead and do whatever you want. Don't worry about us. Alright then. I need some time to cultivate. Knight Sorrow said a few words to them before he found a large hall suitable for cultivation, and entered the Eternal Divine Tower to begin his cultivation. In the tenfold acceleration, he continuously absorbed energy for more than 30 years and raised his strength to the peak of Earthly Sovereign, which was a half-step Heavenly Sovereign. He was only one step away from becoming a Heavenly Sovereign. He was about to catch up with some of the experts in the fog. Seeing that Knight Sorrow had become a half-step Heavenly Sovereign, Xiaowu congratulated him. Knight Sorrow, congratulations on being a step closer to becoming a Heavenly Sovereign. With your talent, when you become a Heavenly Sovereign, you might be able to fight with those upper Heavenly Sovereigns. I might not be able to compete with those veteran experts. They have a lot of experience. But if I can become a Heavenly Sovereign, I should be able to easily win against a middle Heavenly Sovereign. Knight Sorrow analyzed. He felt that many of those upper Heavenly Sovereigns were old antiques who had cultivated for a long time. None of them were simple. They just live a little longer. They have more experience. They might have learned more about divine weapons and secret arts. Although you don't know much, you're not necessarily worse than them when it comes to learning everything. Xiaowu praised again. Especially if you can gather a few more levels of the Eternal Divine Tower. Xiaowu, I know that you have a strong desire to gather the 4th and 6th levels. When the time is right, we'll go. Knight Sorrow knew that Xiaowu was envious of the 7th, 8th, and 9th levels. In fact, he also wanted to gather the entire Eternal Divine Tower as soon as possible. However, it was very difficult to get the remaining 5 levels. He needed to advance to the level of a Heavenly Supreme before he could attempt it, especially the last 2 levels. Not only did he need strength to obtain them, but he also needed some luck. He also needed to make sure that Mie and the others were not in the cities under his control. Knight Sorrow, don't worry, I can wait. I believe that the Eternal Divine Tower will see the light of its day. Little Five knew that Yishang was worried about him, so he replied. Don't worry, I've already taken care of it. Since I've already advanced to the half-step Heavenly Sovereign level, there's no need for me to continue cultivating. To become a Heavenly Sovereign STS. In any case, he had to wait for the people who destroyed the array. To course. TTS. Up until now, Yunyi had already grasped more than 20 character formulas and had basically mastered them. Knight Sorrow was only able to combine a few characters to use, so he was relatively weaker. However, he was not in a hurry to study the arrangement of the words. Instead, he continued to comprehend them. After studying for about 20 years in the space where the speed was 10 times faster, Knight Sorrow had comprehended 23 words. He was almost catching up to Yunyi. He had wanted to strike while the iron was hot and study a few more words. But today he received a voice transmission from Yunyi. It was from Yunyi and Xianyan. They had waited for a few years, but the people who destroyed the formation did not appear. They went to the nearby cities to recruit some subordinates. Today he and Xianyan rushed back with about 50 cultivators. Among these cultivators, there were 6 lower Heavenly Sovereigns. The rest were Earth Sovereigns. They were considered strong. Brother Yunyi, Brother Xianyan. We recruited so many people right from the start. It's not easy to maintain, is it? It'll take a lot of resources to raise so many people. We don't have that many resources at the moment. Knight Sorrow was surprised to see that the 2 of them had brought back so many people at once. They were too rash. Brother Yi, don't worry. We're doing this with the approval of Lu Tian Academy. We're gathering the people together. Then, we'll go and complete the various missions in the city. Basically, we'll be responsible for our own profits and losses. It's not a problem to have more people, Xianyan said with a smile after hearing Knight Sorrow's worries. He and Yunyi had studied the rules thoroughly during the years they had been in the vicinity. They knew how to develop. Knight Sorrow continued. I'm worried about 2 things. First, there will be spies from the enemy. Second, we'll be targeted by other forces when we're doing missions. If the missions don't go well, not only will we not be able to keep people, but our reputation will also be ruined. Brother Ye's worries are reasonable. But if we want to develop our own strength, we have to take this step. Yunyi said, then continued. If Brother Yi is worried that someone will be disloyal, we can set a rule and make those who join us swear a heavenly oath. That's a good idea. You can settle them down and do it. Otherwise, it won't be good for us if they attack us from the inside. By the way, Brother Yin, I think that since we've already set up shop, you should give the force a name. Night Sorrow, who had been secretly observing these cultivators, continued to send a telepathic message. Through the observation of the sea serpent's eye, he realized that these cultivators were all looking around after entering. This was in line with human nature. He couldn't say anything. Upon hearing Night Sorrow's words, Yunyi continued, I'm going to call this place Night Demon Peak. We'll use your name in the Mist District as the name of the force. That's fine too. But if you use my name, you'll definitely be targeted in the future. After all, when I leave New Elegant Peak, I'll have to compete with many older students in the battlefield of Killer Heaven. By then, it won't be as simple as being targeted by Lin Dongqing alone. Night Sorrow said slowly. He knew that the path to his rise would definitely be a path of battle. It's fine. A force that grows in the wind and rain will definitely be more reliable. Let's call it Night Demon Peak then. As he spoke, Yunyi personally wrote the words, Night Demon Peak at the mountain gate. Then he said loudly, Thank you all for joining us. In the future, Night Demon Peak will grow into one of the major forces in the Killer Heaven Academy. Night Demon Peak? Is the Night Demon our backer in the Killer Heaven Academy? Yunyi had just written the name Night Demon Peak, and attracted the attention of many cultivators. Someone asked. Yes. The Night Demon is our backer. He's the top student in this world. His future is limitless. Yunyi nodded and said. He was very proud of Night Sorrow's achievements. Chapter 32-28. Night Demon? I've heard of him. Back then, my brother and I wanted to participate in the selection. But the rules were too cruel, so we didn't dare to participate. Night Demon successfully killed his way into the academy, right in front of us. One of the heavenly sovereigns, Pan Nya, became excited when he heard the name Night Demon. Then his brother, Heavenly Sovereign Pan Yu, said, I was there too, but I remember that Night Demon is an Earth Sovereign. Did he really become the top person this year? Of course. And he's already been recognized as a first-tier genius by the 3 vice deans of the academy. It's almost certain that he'll become a half-step to the supreme realm in the future. His future is limitless. Xian Yan said proudly as everyone asked about Night Demon. To Night Demon Peak, Night Sorrow was a living advertisement. After he finished speaking, some of the heavenly sovereigns and earth sovereigns were instantly energized. They kept asking about Night Sorrow. Yunyi and Xian Yan, on the other hand, spoke word by word. Everyone, who didn't have much confidence in Night Demon Peak, gradually felt a sense of belonging. He hasn't even joined the academy for a few days, and he's already recruiting? I'd like to see how long your Night Demon Peak can last. Just as everyone was chatting and drinking, a sharp arrow emitting a silver-gray light suddenly shot toward Night Demon Peak's signboard. Obviously, it was an enemy attack. The attacker was prepared to shoot down Night Demon Peak's signboard to embarrass Yunyi and Xian Yan. Similarly, it was also a slap to Night Sorrow's face. What arrow is that? It can actually pierce through the array set up by Brother Yi. Xian Yan's expression immediately changed when he saw the arrow flying towards him. At this moment, Heavenly Sovereign Pan Nya exclaimed, That's the Lin clan's array-breaking cloud arrow. It's the Lin clan behind Lin Dongqing. The Lin clan. It's the Lin clan. Some of the people present panicked when they heard about the Lin clan. At this moment, Yunyi flew up to intercept the array-breaking cloud arrow. But just as Yunyi flew over, Night Sorrow shouted, Brother Yin, let me do it. At the same time, he activated the Treastrimsa battle secret technique, activated the Azure Phoenix battle armor, and used the 9 steps of the heaven-defying sword. Skyrocket. He stretched out his hand to grab the cloud-piercing arrow. Who is this? The formation-breaking cloud-piercing arrow is made of ancient star iron and has been strengthened by Venerable Miaji. It is very powerful. You can't grab it with your hands. Upon seeing Night Sorrow grab the cloud-piercing arrow with his bare hands, Heavenly Sovereign Pan Nye immediately shouted a warning. Thanks for the reminder. However, a divine weapon still needed a divine person to wield it. The person who shot this arrow was too weak, so he couldn't display the true power of this arrow. As Night Sorrow responded, he suddenly used the 100-word mantra's frozen 3-word mantra on the cloud-piercing arrow. He wanted them to cooperate and use it. He reduced the speed of the formation-breaking cloud-piercing arrow as much as possible before reaching out to grab it. Although Night Sorrow had retreated nearly 1,000 feet after catching the formation-breaking cloud-piercing arrow, he still managed to stop in front of the plaque. To be able to catch the formation-breaking cloud-piercing arrow, what kind of person is Boss? How can he be so powerful? Upon seeing Night Sorrow grab the arrow with his bare hands, Heavenly Sovereign Pan Nye asked in confusion. Ha ha ha. This is the Night Demon, the #1 person in Lutian Academy this year. After getting Night Sorrow's approval, Yunyi said with a smile. So it's Lord Night Demon. No wonder he's so powerful. There's only one formation-breaking cloud-piercing arrow. If we can refine it by force, it will be a great help in breaking formations in the future. Heavenly Sovereign Pan Nye also praised. He was full of admiration for Night Sorrow's methods. The other people who had been recruited also felt that Night Sorrow's performance was very impressive, and they all began to praise him. Oh, there's only one formation-breaking cloud-piercing arrow? Very good. Upon hearing that there was only one formation-breaking cloud-piercing arrow, Night Sorrow immediately felt relieved. Because of this, the cultivators sent by the Lin family this time would not be a threat to them. You think you're so great just because you caught an arrow? You're just a bunch of trash who haven't seen the world. At this moment, another shout came from afar. A male cultivator from the Lin family threatened. Those who have just been recruited, the Lin family will give you a chance. Leave this so-called Night Demon Peak within a month. Otherwise, all of you will die without a burial ground. The Lin family. It's indeed the Lin family behind this. Hearing the other parties shout, Yunyi immediately gritted his teeth and said. As for the people he had just recruited, they were obviously nervous. Although the Lin family was very rude, they did not have the courage to resist the Lin family at all. In an instant, all of them retreated. Brother Yi, everyone here is hesitating. What should we do? Should we kill those people outside to establish our dominance? The angry Yunyi did not act rashly. Instead he asked, establishing our dominance is a must. But we have to give these people a sense of security. I'll settle it. Night Sorrow replied Yunyi and flew through the mountain gate. He shouted outside, shameless boasting. You bunch of trash. What else can you do other than secretly attacking people? If you have the ability, come in and injure someone for me to see. If the Lin family wants to flatten your Night Demon Peak, it will be as easy as blowing off dust. The male cultivator from the Lin family still had a haughty look, but he did not move. You guys are so close, but you don't dare to attack. Do you only know how to use your mouth? Night Sorrow immediately mocked when the other party did not attack. Since you want to die, don't blame us for disobeying the orders of the Lord. Originally, the Lord was merciful and wanted to spare your lives. But now, it seems that you don't want to live at all. After Night Sorrow shouted, the male cultivator from the Lin family shouted again. Then he shouted, the people we are going to kill are only the Night Demon, Yunyi and Xianyan. As long as you guys who were recruited don't attack, we will not target you. More than 10 heavenly sovereigns have come. Is this all you have? You don't have to be afraid. Only the 3 of us will attack Night Demon Peak today. Night Sorrow had already seen that more than 10 heavenly sovereigns had come from the Lin family, but there were less than 10 people on their side. Under such circumstances, the Lin family still threatened the cultivators they had just recruited. They had no courage at all. Kill them. After Night Sorrow spoke, the male cultivator leading the Lin family immediately roared. Then he led his men and charged toward Night Demon Peak. Looking at the people charging over, Night Sorrow transmitted his voice to Yunyi and Xianyan. Let them enter the array. They will break the 5-bull array no matter what. We have 100% chance of winning. Good. Since Brother Yi is so confident, Let's be more high profile. When Xian Yan heard Night Sorrow's words, he immediately looked at the other cultivators he had recruited and said, "Prepare the food and wine. We will kill all these enemies in front of us, then drink and eat meat with you." Chapter 32:29. Can an earthly sovereign and 2 heavenly sovereigns really get rid of the dozen heavenly sovereigns before us? If you weren't confident, we wouldn't have just stood by and watched. Pan Ye didn't retreat when he saw that the Lin family was outnumbered. Instead, he asked a question. Pan Ye's brother, Pan Yu, said, "That's right. Although we don't have much ability, we are definitely not cowards. Although the Lin family is powerful, it's not enough to make us tuck our tails between our legs." Haha. Pan Ye and Pan Ye, you two are really impressive. However, these ants in front of us are no threat to us. You can just drink and watch. Night Sorrow hadn't expected the Pan family brothers to step forward in such a situation. He was really grateful. After all, if the 2 of them had stepped forward, the others would have definitely stepped forward. Otherwise, it would have been too painful a slap in the face. However, He Yunyi and Xian Yan didn't need any help at all, so they politely declined. Ha ha ha. Since Brother Night Devil is so confident, let's drink and watch for now. Here, this is the 10,000-year incense to help you. Pan Yu laughed and took out 3 jars of wine, handing them to Night Sorrow, Yunyi, and Xian Yan. Thank you for your kindness, Brother Pan. Night Sorrow opened the sea serpent's eye to check. After confirming that there was no problem with the wine, he drank it immediately. Yunyi and Xian Yan were a little hesitant at first, but when they saw that Night Sorrow had already drunk it, they opened the bottle. You are about to be killed, yet you are still in the mood to drink. I don't even know how to describe the few of you. Lin Guangyin, the leader of the Lin family, scolded when he saw that Night Sorrow, Yunyi, and the others were drinking at this juncture. At the same time, the other Lin family members moved quickly and attacked Night Demon Peak. Killing you is as easy as slaughtering chickens and rabbits. Why can't we drink? Yunyi bellowed as he looked at the Lin family members. How arrogant. Let's see how you will cry later. Lin Guangyin of the Lin family looked at Yi Shang and the others with disdain. As for Night Sorrow, he wasn't even in the mood to summon Ape Tian Lai. After drinking, he summoned his golden heavenly halberd and let it float in the air, waiting for the Lin family to attack. At this time, Yunyi and Xian Yan had also finished drinking. They threw the jar on the ground and were ready to fight. Some of the cultivators who had been recruited understood that the leaders of Night Devil Peak wanted to establish their might. Therefore, he didn't let anyone help him. They were very curious as to whether the 3 of them could successfully defend Night Demon Peak under the siege of more than 10 heavenly sovereigns from the Lin family. Boom. Under the watchful gazes of the crowd, the Lin family, led by Lin Guangyin, charged towards the signboard of the Night Demon Peak. This time, Night Sorrow didn't stop them. Instead, he activated the 5 Bulls formation and neutralized all the attacks. At the same time, Night Sorrow took out the lower half of the Eternal Divine Tower and prepared it to absorb the energy. Although the energy absorbed by the Eternal Divine Tower could not help him become a heavenly sovereign for the time being, it could form a very powerful attack. So your confidence lies in these newly set up formations. Let me tell you, these are all insignificant tricks. Kill them. As Lin Guangyin roared, he took out a huge bronze bell from his spatial magical artifact and started to strike it. It released a huge sound wave and blasted towards the formation that Night Sorrow had set up. Idiot! Seeing Lin Guangyin use his magical artifact to attack the 5 Bulls formation, Night Sorrow originally had the ability to use the formation to resist it. However, he felt that if the formation was so exaggerated, the Lin family would very likely not dare to enter. Therefore, when the other party attacked, he stopped the 5 Bulls formation and used an illusory formation to resist the sound wave of the bronze bell. Lin Guangyin's magical artifact was still very powerful. It directly shattered all the illusory formations that Night Sorrow had set up. Ha ha! I told you that these are all insignificant tricks. Lin Guangyin, who thought that he had broken all the formations of Night Demon Peak, laughed arrogantly and roared. Kill Night Devil Yunyi and Xian Yan. Yes. When the heavenly sovereigns of the Lin family heard the order, They immediately roared and charged towards Night Sorrow and the rest. Their auras gave off an extremely powerful feeling, causing the majority of the spectators to unconsciously take a few steps back. Only the two brothers of the Pan family remained in their original positions. As for Night Sorrow, Yunyi, and Xianyan, they went against the flow and attacked the heavenly sovereigns of the Lin family. At this moment, the three of them had completely unleashed their power. In terms of aura, they were completely superior to the Lin families. Great! Seeing Night Sorrow and the rest explode with such fighting spirit, Heavenly Sovereign Pan Nye couldn't help but cheer. Although the battle before them had yet to begin, he and his brother had already decided that if Night Sorrow and the rest could defend Night Demon Peak today, they would choose to join wholeheartedly. Great! I think they will die a horrible death. Lin Guangyin shouted disdainfully when he heard someone cheering. The one who will die a horrible death is you. At this moment, the Lin family had already entered the range of the Five Bulls Array. Night Sorrow sneered and activated the Five Bulls Array again. When the deafening spiritual attack reverberated, Lin Guangyin and the rest were shocked. They hadn't expected that there would still be an array in Night Demon Peak. They had originally planned to charge forward and smash the signboard of Night Demon Peak, but now they had to resist the ferocious spiritual attack. Lin Guangyin took out the copper bell again and shook it. However, under the bombardment of the Five Bulls Array, the sound of the copper bell was completely muffled. Let's go. Seeing that the Five Bulls Array's effect had been completely activated, Night Sorrow roared and charged into the array with the golden heavenly halberd in his hand. The first target he chose was the leader of the opposition, Lin Guangyin. You are just an earthly sovereign. Lin Guangyin had originally thought that Yun Yi would be the one to fight, but when he realized that it was Night Sorrow, he was prepared to mock him, even though he was suffering from the suppression of the array. However, before he could finish his sentence, Night Sorrow interrupted him and said, "You talk too much nonsense. Just shut up." Then Night Sorrow struck him with the Ice Seal formula and the Divine Origin Trapping Array. He executed the 9 steps of the Defiant Heavenly Halberd and attacked Lin Guangyin. Seeing that Night Sorrow's attack wasn't simple, Lin Guangyin, who had wanted to say a few more words, shut his mouth and took it seriously. After all, he was a middle heavenly sovereign and had a certain status in the Lin family. His combat power was still pretty good. However, Night Sorrow had now advanced to the level of a half-step heavenly sovereign, and his combat power had been further enhanced. Under the influence of the Five Bulls Array, the Divine Origin Trapping Array, and the Ice Seal formula, Night Sorrow quickly suppressed Lin Guangyin. Oh no! Someone save me! Lin Guangyin, who was suppressed, quickly realized that he wasn't a match for Night Sorrow. He immediately called for help. Immediately, the dozen heavenly sovereigns, who had been besieging Yun Yi and Xianyan to kill them quickly, suddenly split up and surrounded Night Sorrow. Chapter 32:30. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. The Night Demon, who is only an earthly sovereign, can fight against 7 heavenly sovereigns by himself. It's unbelievable. This kind of talent is rarely seen in the foggy area. Even when the heavenly sovereigns surrounded him, Night Sorrow was still unstoppable. Heavenly Sovereign Pan Nye couldn't help but praise him when he saw how valiant he was. The others who were watching the battle were also sincerely convinced by Night Sorrow. They felt that he was simply amazing. This Night Demon is really difficult to deal with. No wonder he can be Young Master's opponent. After being suppressed by Night Sorrow, Lin Guangyin said unhappily. Although he knew that the people in front of him were seriously affected by the array, the most important thing was that Night Sorrow was strong enough. Although his cultivation was at the level of a half-step heavenly sovereign, he was much stronger than ordinary middle heavenly sovereigns. This was the main reason why he was able to handle the attacks of 7 people with ease. Brother, this Night Demon is too difficult to deal with. Should we run away? Being suppressed by Night Sorrow and in danger of losing his life at any time, Lin Guangyin's younger brother, Lin Guangxian, asked fearfully. At this moment, he clearly felt that his head was no longer under his control, and he immediately wanted to retreat. No need. Aren't the others suppressing Yun Yi and Xianyan? After they kill the 2 of them, the dozen of us will attack the Night Demon together. We will definitely be able to kill him. In the end, This array is too disgusting. We were careless and fell for it. Lin Guangyin, who was observing the battle on the other side, replied through voice transmission. Naturally, their communication couldn't be heard by Night Sorrow. After hearing Lin Guangyin's words, Lin Guangxian replied, "All right. Let's hold on a little longer. There are so many cultivators watching. This concerns the Lin family's reputation. Let's hold on together." After saying that, Lin Guangyin continued to fight with Night Sorrow. He had the strength of a middle heavenly sovereign, but he was seriously affected by the five bulls array. During the battle, he felt dizzy. Although he said he was powerful, he always hid in the back during the battle with Night Sorrow, afraid that he would be killed directly. The other members of the Lin family could naturally tell, but no one dared to say anything. They could only brace themselves and fight with the godlike Night Sorrow. Compared to the Lin family's decline, Night Sorrow was getting more and more courageous. Everyone was suppressed to the point that they couldn't even raise their heads. He smiled and said, "Is that all your Lin family has? How could they call themselves a great clan? What a joke. If you have any trump cards, hurry up and use them. Otherwise, you won't have the chance to use them again." In fact, the current Night Sorrow had the ability to kill everyone in front of him. However, he didn't do that because he still had a battle with Lin Dongqing. He wanted to see some of the Lin family's secret techniques from these people. This way, he would be able to gain a better understanding of Lin Dongqing. Thus, even though he had attacked ferociously, he had not killed anyone. Arrogant brat. Hearing Night Sorrow's words, Lin Guangyin was completely enraged. As a member of the Lin family, he had never been humiliated in public like this. Although he was afraid that he would be killed directly, he still stood up. He said, "Everyone cooperate with me and use the strongest secret technique of the Lin family. King of all forests." Yes. The other cultivators of the Lin family who were fighting with Night Sorrow all responded. King of all forests? Hearing the name alone, Night Sorrow couldn't guess what it was. However, he was very confident in himself. After Lin Guangyin shouted the name, he temporarily restrained his attacks and created the conditions for him to use this secret technique. "How dare you be so arrogant? You will die here immediately." Lin Guangyin could clearly sense that Night Sorrow was resisting and immediately shouted angrily. As his voice fell, the king of all forests was completely unleashed. As soon as this ultimate technique was unleashed, thick ancient trees appeared in the void. At a rough glance, there were hundreds of thousands of them. Each of these trees was formed by energy and emitted a black light. It feels very powerful. Very good. Finally, something is waiting for me. The king of all forests in front of him gave Night Sorrow a strong sense of oppression. This secret technique must be one of Lin Dongqing's trump cards. This was what he wanted to see. Brother Night Demon, be careful. This is one of the strongest secret techniques of the Lin family. Its power is extremely terrifying. Seeing that Lin Guangyin was cooperating with the other cultivators to use the king of all forests, Night Sorrow didn't stop him. Heavenly Sovereign Pan Nia reminded him immediately. He had heard of this secret technique of the Lin family. "Don't worry, I'm fine. Drink up," Night Sorrow replied to Pan Nia, then looked at Lin Guangyin and said, "I see that you are almost ready. Isn't it time to use this secret technique? This is the first time I, Lin Guangyin, have seen someone as reckless as you. Go to hell." After being provoked by Yi Shang's words, Lin Guangyin completely erupted and unleashed the king of 10,000 forests. As thousands of energy trees bombarded Night Sorrow, a huge, colorful tiger appeared in the void. While Night Sorrow was dodging the attacks of the trees, the colorful tiger pounced on Night Sorrow. Compared to the trees, this tiger was much stronger. Not only was it huge, but it also looked like it had materialized. After it appeared, it started attacking wildly. So the core of the king of all forests is this tiger? I think it's just SOSO. It's just a sick tiger like all of you. Night Sorrow, who was fighting against the tiger in front of him, said disdainfully. If that was all, he didn't think this move was anything special. It wasn't exquisite enough for him to learn from. You're being too naive. Lin Guangyin's face was filled with disdain. Then another Bian suddenly appeared in the air. It also pounced at Yi Shan. Interesting. So this is the ultimate technique to summon powerful creatures to fight? Night Sorrow observed with the eye of the sea serpent, and found that the tiger and summoned by Lin Guangyin were all between materialized and energy. This was very mysterious. When fighting the Bai and the tiger, he found that Lin Guangyin and the others were already exhausted. They couldn't summon anything else in the void. As he destroyed the tiger and Lin Guangyin and the others completely lost the ability to fight back. They were killed one by one. However, Yi Shang had asked Lin Guangyin to stay behind. He wanted to ask him more about Lin Dongqing. This would help him understand Lin Dongqing better, and he could learn some of the Lin family's ultimate techniques from him. Know yourself and your enemy and you will never be defeated. Night Sorrow killed the cultivators of the Lin family one by one. Yun Yi and Xian Nian, who were struggling to hold on, heaved a sigh of relief. After that, their battle became very simple. With Night Sorrow's help, they easily won the final victory. Chapter 32-31. Amazing. Truly amazing. The strength of the three of you has really broadened our horizons. Heavenly Supreme Pan Nia exclaimed after Night Sorrow, Yun Yi, and Xian Nian finished off the cultivators of the Lin family. In his opinion, the fighting strength and cohesiveness of the unaffiliated cultivators were simply fascinating. It made them feel a surge of vigorous vitality. It was as if they could see the beautiful future of Night Demon Peak at this moment. Haha, Brother Pan, you're too kind. We also relied on the power of the array to achieve victory so easily. Yun Yi replied modestly after being complimented. Haha. Boss Yun Yi, you're too humble. The fighting strength you just displayed is really admirable. The two of us will accompany you in the future to witness the rise of Night Demon Peak. Heavenly Supreme Panya said with a smile. The two of them had already decided to join Night Demon Peak wholeheartedly and grow together with it. Welcome both of you. Yun Yi knew that the two of them joining now was completely different from when they were in the city. Night Sorrow said, Don't worry, I can assure you that joining Night Demon Peak was not a bad choice. I still have things to do, so I'll leave the matters of Night Demon Peak to you all. Goodbye. He knew that his appearance as an expert had already had an effect of uplifting everyone. The Lin family had suffered heavy losses this time, so Lin Dongqing would have to think twice before sending people to harass them. After all, although he was one of the geniuses of the Lin family, his power was not so great that he could mobilize the family's manpower at will. He would leave the matters in the future to Yun Yi and Xian Nian. Brother Yi, don't worry. Leave the matters here to Brother Yin and me. You can return to Lu Tian Academy to break through to the Heavenly Supreme Realm. Be careful of Lin Dongqing. I feel that he's capable of anything. Xian Nian sent a voice transmission to Night Sorrow to reassure him when he saw that he was about to leave. If anything happens to the Lin family, inform me immediately. Yi Shang returned to the Lu Tian Academy after leaving behind a message. When he returned to his residence, Night Sorrow immediately learned from the servants that Gusubi was looking for him. Gusubi? Why is he looking for me? Night Sorrow had some impression of this Gusu farewell. His brother seemed to have been killed by Lin Dongqing. Night Devil Master, Gusu wants you to go directly to his residence. The servant said humbly. However, even though his tone was humble, Night Sorrow could still hear something from his words. He said coldly, You want me to find him? Gusu doesn't have that much face. Yes, master. Seeing that Night Sorrow was a little angry, the servant did not say anything and continued with his work. Night Sorrow entered the cultivation space to meet the chaotic heavenly crystal beast. At this moment, the chaotic heavenly crystal beast was absorbing some of the sea-calming divine iron that Night Sorrow had given it. It had no intention of coming out of seclusion. Night Sorrow didn't disturb him too much. After watching for a while, he left the cultivation space. Unexpectedly, just as he walked out of the cultivation space, Gusu's other figure appeared outside his residence. Night Demon, why don't you dare to meet me at my residence? Are you afraid that I'll kill you? After Gusu farewell appeared, he roared. Avoid meeting me? Afraid that you'll kill me? Where did your brain come from? Hearing Gusu farewell shout like this, Night Sorrow laughed instead of being angry. He felt that there was something wrong with this guy's brain. I don't believe that you haven't heard the news that the others have been defeated by me. Aren't Hasa woman and Sule your people? How can you not know that they were defeated by me? My last challenge target is you. You should know that. You don't dare to meet me because you're afraid that I'll defeat you or even kill you. Gusu Farewell said with a strange tone. You think too highly of yourself. Normally, I have a lot of things to do. How can I have the time to pay attention to a nobody like you? Night Sorrow said with a sneer. He originally had some sympathy for this Gusu Farewell, but now he felt that a pitiful person must have something to hate. Haha. I've already blocked your way. What's the use of your sophistry? Hurry up and come out to fight. You don't live up to your title as the #1 person. Hand it over. As for Lin Dongqing, I'll be the one to challenge him. Gusu Farewell looked at Night Sorrow with disdain. At this moment he had just advanced to a middle heavenly sovereign, and his aura was uncontrollable. How arrogant. Let me see just how capable you are. Gusu Farewell, who had advanced to a middle heavenly sovereign, was too arrogant. Night Sorrow didn't want to talk to him at all. This was because there was nothing to say to such a person who kept having delusions in his mind. There was only one way to make him shut up, and that was to beat him into submission. Good. I admire your courage. Since you dared to fight with me, I will treat you the same as I treated Hasa and Sule. I will spare your life. Gusu Farewell looked at Night Sorrow as he released his divine territory. I think your brain has been fried after advancing to a middle heavenly sovereign. Gusu Farewell's words didn't make much sense, but they still made Night Sorrow very unhappy. He replied and released his divine territory directly. He also activated the Treastrimsa battle secret technique, activated the Green Phoenix battle armor, and held the golden heavenly halberd in his hand. This halberd is not bad. I like it. It's like casting pearls before swine. Gusu Farewell said with a greedy look after scrutinizing Night Sorrow's golden heavenly halberd. He could sense that there was a half-step to the supreme realm in the golden heavenly halberd. Originally, I didn't want to kill you. However, there's no point in leaving your soul in this world. Freeze. Ice. Seal. King of all forests. With a loud roar, Night Sorrow continuously performed his ultimate skill. He had discovered the king of all forests from Lin Guangyin's ultimate skill. At this moment he wanted to test it out by fighting with Gusu Farewell. He wanted to see if it was the same as Lin Guangyin's. At the same time he wanted to test its effects and find out its shortcomings in the battle before improving it. King of all forests? You're the lackey of the Lin family. Go to hell. Gusu Farewell roared furiously when he saw Night Sorrow perform this move. This was because his elder brother had been killed by Lin Dongqing with this move. Then, like a wild beast, he used his ultimate skill to fight against the king of all forests Yishan's fierce tiger, and were smashed into pieces. Lackey of the Lin family, I'll tear you apart today. After breaking the king of all forests move, Gusu Farewell performed the family's ultimate skill that he had comprehended after advancing to a middle heavenly sovereign at Night Sorrow. Dark prison. In an instant, Night Sorrow realized that the surrounding void had turned dark. Chapter 32-32. This kind of darkness was like the end of the world, giving people an extremely uncomfortable feeling. Night Sorrow opened the sea serpent's eye and observed for a while, but he didn't see anything. He knew very well that he was trapped in another dark prison of Gusu, and had entered a small world that was completely dark and sunless. Restriction-breaking hammer, come out and work. Night Sorrow immediately summoned the restriction-breaking hammer. At this moment Little Seven volunteered. Let us out too, maybe we can help. Okay. Come out. Night Sorrow replied and summoned the lower half of the Eternal Divine Tower from the Space Grotto Heaven. After Little 7, Little 8, and Little 9 came out, they sensed for a while and Little 8 said, We know a little about this space. There are 2 ways to break it. The first is to let the restriction-breaking hammer slowly break the array. The second is to use brute force to break it. As long as your strength surpasses Gusubi's outside, you can break it directly. There is such a thing. Restriction-breaking hammer. How long do you 2 need to break this space in front of you? After communicating with Little 8, Night Sorrow asked the restriction-breaking hammer. If everything goes well, about 4 hours. The male hammer of the restriction-breaking hammer replied. 4 hours? That's too long. Who knows, Gusubi might use these 4 hours to set up an array outside or prepare some terrifying attack. This won't work. I'd better try to break the array with brute force. After saying that, Night Sorrow burned his bloodline power and attacked the barrier of the dark prison. After being attacked by Night Sorrow's attack, the barrier of the dark prison immediately shook violently. However, it wasn't destroyed because of this. As long as you are not strong enough, you can forget about leaving my dark prison. Just wait to be trapped inside and die. Gusubi said proudly when he saw that Night Sorrow's attack didn't break the dark prison. When he faced Su Lei and Whirling Woman, he didn't use this move. At this moment, when he was fighting Night Sorrow, he was completely enraged when he saw the King of 10,000 Forests. He immediately unleashed his strongest trump card to trap him within. Night Sorrow, the aura in this space can corrode a cultivator's Tao heart. He trapped you here to make you go crazy. Little 8 reminded Night Sorrow. He could already sense an evil aura coming from the depths of space. Although these auras were auras, they appeared in the space in the form of demons. The way they floated around was like a gray wandering soul. After they appeared, there was some light in the dark prison. Under the illumination of this light, these wandering souls floated towards Night Sorrow like ghosts. At this moment, Night Sorrow spoke. Gusubi, is this the technique of your dark prison? It doesn't look like much. You're already at this level, and you're still so stubborn, you lackey of the Lin clan. Let's see how you'll die. Gusubi, who was controlling the dark prison, roared. Night Sorrow, who was facing countless wandering souls, released his power of virtue and purified all the evil spirits in front of him. Seeing Night Sorrow purify these things, Little 8 came to a realization and said, That's right. You have the power of virtue, so you're not afraid of these ghosts. If I unleash my full strength now, I should be able to break the dark prison. But I want to see what other tricks he has up his sleeve. Controlling the dark prison required him to expend a great deal of energy. I think it's beneficial for us if we continue to exhaust ourselves like this. Night Sorrow transmitted his voice to Little 8. This was something that he suddenly understood. In the attack just now, he did not use any secret techniques or divine abilities, nor did he use the ancient coffin. He still had a lot of tricks up his sleeve. He did not use any of them because he was confident that he could get out of here. So that's what you meant. I thought your strength was weaker than his. Little 8 immediately calmed down after hearing Night Sorrow's voice transmission. Night Sorrow said, My cultivation level is definitely lower than him. But in terms of strength, I shouldn't be any weaker than him. What did you use just now? Gusubi, who was using his evil aura, shouted in shock when he realized that all the ghosts were purified. And when all these things were destroyed, his divine origin energy was greatly depleted. It's something that will kill you. Night Sorrow replied and said sarcastically, This is the attack of your dark prison? Isn't it a little too weak? If you don't have any other tricks up your sleeve, I'll break out of here. Shameless boasting. After being provoked by Yi Shang, Gusu instantly used her own consciousness to completely control the dark prison. He summoned a huge black hole in the void of the dark prison. After the black hole was summoned, a slender black dragon crawled out from it. This dragon looked very similar to the sea dragon in the Sea of Evil. However, it was surrounded by bad luck. This is the unlucky dragon. Night Sorrow, be careful. Don't let it touch you. Otherwise, you will be unlucky. Little 8 immediately reminded when he saw the unlucky dragon appear. Got it. This is similar to the Whirling Woman's descent of all evil. Looks like this Gusubi doesn't have any fighting ability. All he can summon are strange things. It's not interesting at all. Let's get out. After replying to Little 8, Yishang poured his power of virtue into the deity domain around him. When the merit power was almost poured in, he used the golden heavenly halberd to shoot out the god's spear. Although he burned his bloodline for the attack just now, he did not use any divine ability. Now he is using his full strength. Boom. After Night Sorrow blasted out this attack, a hole immediately appeared in the dark prison. The unlucky dragon that was summoned also flew out of the dark prison. It started to circle in the void. I didn't expect you to be able to come out and bring the unlucky dragon out. Seeing that Night Sorrow had successfully destroyed the dark prison, Gusubi said in shock. He then controlled the unlucky dragon to attack Night Sorrow. At the same time, he cooperated with the unlucky dragon to launch an attack. It looked like the unlucky dragon was the main force. However, Night Sorrow could clearly see that something was amiss. This Gusubi had not unleashed a very powerful frontal attack during their battle. Clearly, she wanted him to lower his guard. In fact, he must be preparing the most ferocious attack. You want me to fall for your attack? You need to have absolute speed. Facing Gusubi and the unlucky dragon's attack, Night Sorrow did not panic at all. Above the void, he used the 9 steps of the Defiant of the Heavens to dodge and cast several words consecutively. He made them form the combination of break, defeat, and scatter. When these words were combined, they immediately flew towards Gusubi and the unlucky dragon. Chapter 32-33. Your word formula is not bad. After I defeat you, I must obtain it. Gusubi shouted with interest when he saw Night Sorrow's 100-word formula. He then took out a feather fan. He activated the feather fan and attacked Night Sorrow's word formula. After being attacked by the feather fan, the 100-word formula was immediately blocked. The unlucky dragon took the opportunity to spit out a mouthful of filthy air at Night Sorrow. Night Sorrow quickly dodged. Don't let the air touch you. Seeing the unlucky dragon spitting filthy air at Night Sorrow, Adi immediately reminded him. Don't worry. As long as it's in the form of a dragon, it won't be a threat to me. Night Sorrow replied. He then used the Supreme Dragon Subduing Technique and summoned a huge Kuan-pung. After the Kuan-pung was summoned, it immediately grabbed the unlucky dragon and wanted to devour it. What kind of secret technique is this? Gusubi frowned when he saw the Kuan-pung summoned by Night Sorrow easily suppress the unlucky dragon. This is a secret technique that can defeat you, Night Sorrow said. He then used his golden heavenly halberd to attack Gusubi with the godly spear. He knew that Gusubi had not used his full strength yet. Instead of waiting for him to use his full strength, he might as well make the first move. It's impossible for you to defeat me. I'm the strongest person in this batch. Facing Night Sorrow's godly spear, Gusubi floated the feather fan above his head and let it attack automatically. He then took out a 3-foot black sword and used a secret technique to block the godly spear. Boom! Gusubi's secret technique was immediately destroyed when it clashed with the godly spear. Compared to the godly spear, his secret technique's attack power was obviously weaker. Gusubi, on the other hand, was hit by the aftershock of the godly spear and suffered some light injuries. This was the result of his conceit, and he did not dodge. I underestimated you. However, your attack is indeed not painful. I'm not wrong about this. Gusubi, who was slightly injured, suddenly had a change in expression. Her expression became much more serious. He looked at the suppressed unlucky dragon and realized that it had no ability to fight back under the pressure of the Kuan-pung. It was about to be devoured. He was determined to take out some of his trump cards. He said coldly, I've prepared these things for Lin Dongqing. Since you're lucky enough to be able to endure it, it's a worthy death. Before Night Sorrow's next attack came, he activated the armor on his body, causing the armor's black light to shine brightly as it charged with the power of ice. At the same time, he completely burned his own bloodline. After burning her strongest bloodline, Gus's other eyes immediately turned blood red, making her look extremely eerie. He glanced at Night Sorrow and growled, Destroy. Destroy? Gusu only had the word destroy. Night Sorrow didn't quite understand what was going on at first, but when he fully executed this move, Night Sorrow was shocked. He realized that the intent of this move was too powerful. It had the kind of aura that could destroy everything. Could this be an ultimate move imparted by Destroy? When Gusubi executed this move, everything in the void seemed to be annihilated in an instant. Night Sorrow couldn't help but think of Supremacy Mia in the fog zone. However, after a moment of confusion, he recovered and said coldly, So what if this is Destroy's ultimate move? Didn't my movement technique also come from Supremacy Yen? Then he executed the defiant 9 steps to dodge. This time, Night Sorrow's defiant 9 steps exploded with even more power when it met Supremacy Mia's ultimate move. It was much more mysterious than before. Moreover, he formed countless word seals and divine essence trapping array in the void to block his opponent's ultimate move. Although Gusubi's other attacks were sharp and powerful, they did not hit Night Sorrow. How is this possible? When Destroy's move dissipated in the void, Gusubi's face was filled with disbelief. He couldn't believe that Gusubi's ultimate move, which had been passed down for countless years, was useless against Night Sorrow. At this moment, Gusubi's mind was shaken, because this move was indeed imparted to Gusubi's ancestor by Destroy. It was Gusubi's ultimate move that had been passed down for countless years. Nothing is impossible. Night Sorrow, who had dodged Gusubi's attack, felt that this move should be incomplete. It did not explode with the aura that Supremacy Mia's ultimate move should have. Compared to his Supreme Dragon subduing technique, it was much weaker. Eternal Divine Tower, prepare to attack. Gusubi has even used his family's ultimate move. He should be at his wit's end. We should end this battle. Night Sorrow transmitted his voice to Little Seven and the others, asking them to prepare for the attack. He completely activated the Golden Heavenly Halberd, and executed the mysterious Azure Divine Spear technique, and the defiant 9 steps to fight against Gusubi. Night Sorrow's close combat skills were obviously better than Gusubi's, and he quickly suppressed him. Impossible. This is impossible. I am the strongest person in this year's competition. It is impossible for me to lose. But how could Supremacy Mia's ultimate move be broken by an ant? At this moment, Gusubi was still immersed in the disappointment of his ultimate move being broken. Destroy. This ultimate move was his obsession. He originally thought that after learning it, he would be invincible in the same realm and killing Lin Dongqing would be as easy as slaughtering a chicken. But reality slapped him in the face too quickly. Night Sorrow, who was at the level of a half-step Heavenly Supreme, had successfully neutralized it. In fact, Gusubi did not know that although his move was mysterious, Night Sorrow's defiant 9 steps also came from Supremacy Mia. And after meeting Supremacy Mia's ultimate move, it exploded with even more power than before. Great job, Kuan-Peng. At this moment, Night Sorrow saw the Kuan-Peng summoned by the Supreme Dragon subduing technique devouring the unlucky dragon. He exclaimed and ordered, Kuan-Peng, help me attack Gusubi. Then, he sent a voice transmission to Little Seven. Are you ready to attack? I'm ready. I'm waiting for your order. I promised to give him a surprise. Little Seven immediately replied confidently. Very good. At this moment, attack directly. Night Sorrow sent a voice transmission and used the Golden Heavenly Halberd to shoot out the God's Spear again. However, this move was obviously a feint. After launching the feint, Night Sorrow blasted Gusubi with the Divine Origin Trap Array and the Freezing Ice Seal technique. At this moment, the Kuan-Peng and the Eternal Divine Tower cooperated with him to attack. Under their combined attack, Gusubi, whose emotions were already unstable, was suddenly killed. You want to be the strongest person? Your temperament is not enough. After watching Gusubi slowly fall to the ground, Night Sorrow said and took out his spatial device. He wanted to find Annihilation's ultimate move and see if it was recorded in the spatial device. However, he had just obtained the spatial device and had not checked it yet. Above the void, 2 people flew over. Seeing the 2 of them, Night Sorrow smiled and said, The 2 of you, how are you? Chapter 32-34. Brother Night Devil, how have you been? I'm ashamed to say that the 2 of us lost to Gusubi first. Because of the bet, we had to avoid where he appeared. That's why we appeared. I hope you don't mind. Dancing Lady, who flew over first, explained and then congratulated. Brother Night Devil, your divine power is unparalleled. You're already worthy of being the number 1 person in this batch. Dancing Lady is deeply impressed. You're too polite. I was also lucky to defeat him. In terms of strength, we're about the same. Night Sorrow said humbly. In fact, if he fought with these people in front of him, the final winner would indeed be him. You're too humble. Your strength is indeed above us. At this moment, Sule also spoke. She was gradually convinced by Night Sorrow's combat strength. In the battle with Gusu, although she had tried her best, she had still lost. However, Night Sorrow, who had defeated Gusu, obviously still had strength left. This proved that the gap between Night Sorrow and her and Dancing Lady was getting bigger and bigger. When Night Sorrow advanced to the Heavenly Supreme level, the gap would be unimaginable. This was the gap in potential. No matter how hard they worked, they could not make up for it. Seeing that the two women were a little shocked, Night Sorrow comforted them. We're all on the path of cultivation. If we don't reach the end, we don't have the qualifications to transcend. In the future, maybe one of us can advance to the supreme level. When that time comes, we'll talk about heroes over a cup of wine. What you said makes sense. Everyone has a chance. Hearing this, Dancing Lady immediately felt a little better. Geniuses who could enter the Lu Tian Academy were all proud and arrogant. Although she was not sure if she had the qualifications to advance to the supreme level, she was prepared to work hard. Sigh. What should I do? At this moment, Su Lei was a little nervous. She felt that if Night Sorrow could be successfully recruited by the organization she was in, it should be a great help. However, for a genius like Night Sorrow who had great ambitions and wanted to advance to the supreme level, it was not easy to control. Therefore, it was extremely difficult for the organization she was in to recruit Night Sorrow. This made her a little worried. A few days ago, that organization sent another 2 elders. These 2 people gave her a lot of pressure. She had lost the bet to Night Sorrow, so she wasn't sure if she should listen to the organization or Night Sorrow. His mind was in a mess. Su Lei, what happened to you? At this moment, Night Sorrow felt that Su Lei's emotions were a little unstable, so he immediately asked. It's nothing. I just suffered a bit of a blow. Su Lei smiled awkwardly. She was a little embarrassed to be seen through. At this time, Dancing Woman said, Night Demon. Actually, the reason why Su Lei and I rushed over this time, other than watching the battle between you and Gusu, is also to ask you to do something. You want me to do something for you? What's the matter? Night Sorrow asked curiously. It's like this. Recently, Su Lei and I heard some news. The Sovereign Heaven Origin Pill had appeared in an ancient site in the Killer Heaven battlefield. This Sovereign Heaven Origin Pill can not only help an earthly sovereign to advance to a heavenly sovereign, but it can also help a heavenly sovereign advance by a small realm. If Su Lei and I get it, we can advance to a middle heavenly sovereign. If you get it, you can advance to a heavenly sovereign. Are you interested in this matter? After Dancing Woman finished speaking, she looked at Night Sorrow with an expectant gaze. She knew that it was impossible for her and Su Lei to get the Sovereign Heaven Origin Pill. If Night Sorrow were to help, the success rate would be greatly increased. Of course I'm interested in a pill that can advance to a heavenly sovereign. Tell me more about it. After Night Sorrow heard Dancing Woman's words, he immediately became very interested. To him, what he needed most was to advance to a higher realm. Naturally, he would not miss out on a miracle pill like the Sovereign Heaven Origin Pill. It's like this. A few days ago, in the Killer Heaven battlefield, someone coincidentally stumbled into an ancient site. Not long after that, he advanced from a middle heavenly sovereign to an upper heavenly sovereign. Dancing Woman smiled and said, after that, he entered the ancient site again and found another Sovereign Heaven Origin Pill. However, he realized that the second pill had no effect at all. Hence, he auctioned off the 2 Sovereign Heaven Origin Pills that he found in the 3rd entry at the Academy's auction house, and obtained a large amount of resources. This matter was then exposed. As the saying goes, there's no such thing as an airtight wall in the world. Come to think of it, that cultivator was too eager for quick success and instant benefits. Night Sorrow agreed and asked, if that's the case, have the 2 of you found the entrance to the ancient site? Of course. But now there are many students who know about the ancient site. Many of them are from previous batches and are very powerful. If we go, it's still very risky. Dancing Woman continued. She and Su Lei knew that even with Night Sorrow's participation, the risk was still very high. After all, they were all new students in Lu Tian Academy, and did not have an advantage in terms of strength. At this time, Su Lei said, although this matter is very dangerous, we can't refuse the Sovereign Heaven Origin Pill. We can't refuse it, but others can't refuse it either. Hence, the competition inside will be very intense. If we go, we must be prepared. Wait a moment, I'll ask Elder Su about this. Knight Sorrow agreed with Su Lei. He could not refuse the Sovereign Heaven Origin pill, but he also understood the danger of this trip. At this point, Yishang contacted Elder Su via voice transmission. Night Demon, is there anything you need this elder to help you with? Elder Su, who received the telepathy, quickly replied. Elder Su, it's like this. My friend and I recently heard about the Sovereign Heaven Origin pill. Do you have a certain understanding of this matter? Brother Yi went straight to the point. This matter has already spread like wildfire in Lutian Academy. Of course, I've heard about it. Elder Su replied with a smile. He then asked, why? Night Demon, are you interested in the Sovereign Heaven Origin pill? The Sovereign Heaven Origin pill can help me become a heavenly sovereign. Of course, I'm interested. Night Sorrow replied. That's true. It's not just you. Now the students in Lutian Academy, especially the lower heavenly sovereigns and middle heavenly sovereigns, have all gone crazy because of the Sovereign Heaven Origin pill. As for the upper heavenly sovereigns, they can't use the Sovereign Heaven Origin pill to become a heavenly sovereign. Hence, they are less enthusiastic about it. However, there are still a few who will go to the ancient site to see if there are other opportunities. If you go, you must pay attention to these upper heavenly sovereigns. Elder Su said in a serious tone. Everyone knew that Lutian Academy did not prohibit students from killing each other, especially in the Lutian battlefield. Hence, if Night Sorrow went to the ancient site, it would be very dangerous. Chapter 32-35. Elder. Night Demon knows the danger of going to the ancient ruins. Can you tell me about the stronger heavenly sovereigns? If I encounter them, I can more or less understand. Also, there are other things to pay attention to. Of course, Night Demon won't mistreat you. If I get a Supreme Heaven Yuan pill, I'll give you one. Yishang knew that elders were not allowed to enter the battleground of the Killer Heaven. It was not easy for Elder Su to get a Supreme Heaven Yuan pill. This meant that he was cooperating with him. Haha, Night Demon, you're too polite. The Supreme Heaven Yuan pill doesn't matter. I'll tell you everything I know. Let's talk face to face. Not long after he finished speaking, Elder Su arrived at Yishang's residence. He explained the situation of the ancient ruins in detail to him, Su Lei, and Hasa, as well as some of the main experts. After saying all this, Elder Su specially instructed, Night Demon, you must pay attention to Lin Dongqing. Lin Dongqing's strength has increased greatly recently. It seems that he has obtained something from his family. If you encounter him, try to avoid him. Okay. Elder Su, I understand. We will try our best to get the Supreme Heaven Yuan pill and help you advance to Upper Heavenly Sovereign. After Elder Su finished instructing, Night Sorrow promised. If you have extra, you can gift one to this elder. That's fine too. But if you don't have enough, I'll forget about it. Before you go, make some preparations. If there's nothing else, I'll take my leave. Elder Su looked at Yishang, Su Lei, and Dancing Woman and said, the three of you formed a team, and your talents are excellent. But your strength is limited, so you must not act rashly. It's best if you travel at night and don't clash with others. Goodbye. Elder Su, take care. After Night Sorrow sent Elder Su away, he looked at Su Lei and Hasa and said, it's very dangerous this time. I'll check Gus's other spatial artifacts first. I'll see if I can find anything. I also need to refine some talismans. Wait for me here. Okay. I'll refine some pills and jade talismans too. Su Lei looked at Night Sorrow and said, then walked into the alchemy room. Whirling Woman was the same. They both knew how dangerous the trip to the ancient ruins was. After separating from the two women, Night Sorrow entered the cultivation room and removed the restrictions on Gus's other spatial artifacts. After investigating, he found that the ultimate technique named Annihilation was indeed inside. As for the other items, they were of no value to Night Sorrow. Thus, Night Sorrow concentrated on comprehending this secret art called Annihilation. It was recorded on a piece of beast skin. This seems to be an incomplete version. Observing with the sea serpent's eye and sensing with the power of his soul, Knight Sorrow discovered that the ultimate technique in front of him was obviously incomplete. He thought to himself, Gusu is already so strong when she executes the incomplete version. How strong would the complete version be? Knight Sorrow, if I'm not wrong, the beast skin in your hand has runes on it. As Knight Sorrow was studying the beast hide, the male hammer of the forbidden breaking hammers suddenly spoke. Oh, there are runes? Why didn't I notice it? After the male hammer of the forbidden breaking hammers finished speaking, Knight Sorrow asked in confusion. He had already opened the sea serpent's eye, but he couldn't see the runes at all. You can't see it because this kind of rune is very mysterious. You can't see it at all, you can only sense it. The female hammer and I are very sensitive to the runes, so we can sense it. The male hammer explained and continued. Do you need the two of us to break the runes on it? If you can break it, it will be good. You can try. When Knight Sorrow heard the male hammer's words, he was pleasantly surprised. He had a premonition that what was hidden under the runes was very likely the complete version of annihilation. All right. Leave it to us. The male hammer said and flew out with the female hammer. They transformed into human form and studied the beast skin in front of them. This beast skin is very impressive, but I can't tell what kind of divine beast it came from. After observing it for a while, the female hammer said, The beast skin is impressive, but it proves that the item might be even more impressive. You can do it. After Knight Sorrow said that, he stood to the side and stopped talking. The male hammer and female hammer of the forbidden breaking hammers tried their best to break it. They enjoyed breaking the runes like this. However, Knight Sorrow felt that it was a little boring, so he continued to study the 100-word mantra in the cultivation room. In the blink of an eye, 10 years had passed in the cultivation room, and the number of mantra words that Knight Sorrow had mastered had reached a total of 30. Just as he was about to comprehend the 31st word, the male hammer said, Knight Sorrow, we have broken the runes on the beast skin. You can take a look. Good. Thank you for your hard work. After Yi Shang said this, he looked at the beast skin that had already been unsealed. After observing for a while, he smiled and said, Good. Very good. This is the complete version of annihilation. So this ultimate skill is called destruction of heaven and earth. It is mainly used to enhance ultimate skills and divine abilities. After studying it for a while, Knight Sorrow found that the ultimate skill of destruction of heaven and earth could be used to enhance other ultimate skills and divine abilities. It could improve their aura qualitatively and use it like Gusabi, but that was not its real purpose. Its power was very limited. It's just as you said. Then this ultimate skill of annihilation cannot be simply called an ultimate skill. It is equivalent to a divine ability that he has comprehended. This annihilation is really not simple. Hearing this, Little Seven immediately said, If it was simple, it would be impossible for him to always stand at the peak of the eternal supreme world and the fog area. Yi Shang also sighed in admiration and comprehended the destruction of heaven and earth. After comprehending it, he found that this move could not only enhance ultimate skills and divine abilities, but also affect the cultivator himself. It could allow the cultivator to erupt with great power in a short period of time. This is really good stuff. After learning destruction of heaven and earth, I should be able to compete with ordinary upper heavenly sovereigns. As for those monstrous geniuses in the academy, I still have to fight to know. Knight Sorrow was in high spirits. Then he refined a lot of elixirs and talismans. After coming out of seclusion, he sent a voice transmission to the two women. How are your preparations? According to the time in the real world, only about a year had passed. A year's time would not affect the exploration of the ancient ruins. Therefore, Dancing Lady and Su Lei were not in a hurry. Hearing Knight Sorrow's voice transmission, the two of them appeared almost at the same time. Dancing Lady asked, Night Devil, how is your harvest? Very big. The success rate this time has also increased a lot. Knight Sorrow said with certainty. Now that he had mastered 3 ultimate skills of Supreme Sovereigns, his combat power had increased significantly. With your words, we are relieved. Then shall we set off immediately? Only the 3 of us will go? Sule looked at Night Sorrow and asked. Yes, just the three of us. Because of the Academy's restrictions, my friends can't enter the battlefield. Let's go. Night Sorrow nodded and said. Then, the three of them entered the battlefield together. Chapter 32-36. As soon as the three of them entered the battlefield, a strong murderous aura hit them in the face. Night Sorrow, who had already been here, quickly reminded them, release your divine territory to block this aura. In addition, there are countless illusions in the battlefield. If you happen to enter, you need to complete the corresponding checkpoints to successfully leave. When you came in, what checkpoints did you encounter? Hearing Night Sorrow's words, Dancing Lady knew that he had experienced it personally, so she asked to get some useful information. Night Sorrow recalled and said, at that time, I encountered a few checkpoints. The most special one should be a martial arts competition for a spouse. I accepted the challenge on the stage. If I lost, I might stay in the illusion forever. There's such an illusion. Our trip will definitely be very difficult. Sule looked at the broken walls and ruins that were not very stable. Looking into the distance, it was a bleak desolation, but it contained endless danger. This made her a little nervous. After all, she and Dancing Lady were the best in this batch, but compared to the old students, they were not enough. Don't be afraid if the situation is not right. All of you, enter my space grotto heaven immediately. Night Sorrow looked at Sule and comforted her. Then on this trip, Brother Night Demon, please take care of us. Dancing Lady cupped her hands and bowed to Night Sorrow, then looked into the distance and said, you can't catch a tiger cub without entering the tiger's den. Let's go. She was very determined. Okay. Dancing Lady, you have good eyesight, pay more attention to the front, I'll guard the back. Night Sorrow said and opened the sea serpent's eye to observe the situation around them. As for Dancing Lady, she was responsible for finding the way. According to the map provided by Elder Sue, they went all the way to the ancient ruins. In the first few hours, the three of them went very smoothly. They only encountered a few gusts of wind, and easily avoided them. However, from the edge of the area, they gradually entered the edge of the central area, and immediately encountered a group of Een soldiers. They entered the illusion. The three of them fought in the battlefield for 7 days and 7 nights before they successfully killed a bloody path, and left the illusion. After killing their way out of the battlefield, Sule sighed and said, Brother, ye did not exaggerate. This illusionary realm was indeed dangerous. I wonder if I can avoid this illusion? If we encounter it a few more times, I'm afraid we won't be able to withstand it. I really don't know how to avoid this thing. Night Sorrow shook his head and said. He had no way of avoiding the illusion here. Dancing Woman also shook her head and said. Although my eyes are special, I can't see where the illusion is. We can only rely on our luck. All right then. Let's continue forward and deal with whatever comes our way, Sule said with a frown. In fact, the Killer Heaven battlefield was not the only thing that gave her pressure. The two elders hidden in her space had been discussing how to deal with Night Sorrow. This made him extremely conflicted. I will do my best to protect you. Seeing Sule's complicated emotions, Night Sorrow comforted him. He continued. Whirl continued to watch the road. To him, Dancing Woman and Sule could not be of much help. However, this information was provided by the two of them, so he was more grateful. There is a rift valley in front, which is not marked on Elder Sue's map. Should we fly over the rift valley or go around it? I can't see the rift valley clearly. I don't know if there is any danger in it. After flying for a while, Dancing Woman, who was leading the way, suddenly stopped. In front of them was a rift valley covered in black mist. Dancing Woman could see through the mist on the surface, and found that there was a rift valley below, but she could not see what was in the rift valley at all. She was afraid that there was some danger in it. Let me see. Hearing this, Night Sorrow used the sea serpent's eye to look at the rift valley, but he could not see what was inside. He released the power of his divine soul, but he could not sense what was inside. The power of his divine soul was completely blocked by the rift valley. The rift valley in front is not on Elder Sue's map at all. Let's go around it. In case we encounter any danger. After thinking for a while, Night Sorrow said. At this time, Su Lei's expression changed slightly and he said, "The two of you. If I'm not wrong, we have entered an illusion now. The Rift Valley in front of us is very likely the checkpoint we need to break through. It's really possible. If there is this Rift Valley in the battlefield of the Slayer of Heaven, Elder Su's map will definitely mark it. We might have been tricked again." Dancing Woman looked at the map carefully and said helplessly, "Yes. Su Lei's judgment should be right. Let's go through the Rift Valley." Night Sorrow observed the surrounding environment and felt that Su Lei's judgment was very likely correct. So he said. Then he landed on the ground with the two women and walked through the entrance of the Rift Valley. As soon as they walked into the Rift Valley, they were sure that the three of them had indeed entered an illusion, because when they entered the Rift Valley, they immediately saw a large number of walking creatures. These creatures all looked like walking corpses, and their numbers were extremely large. They should be dead cultivators or battle pets. They wandered aimlessly in the Rift Valley. The three of them wanted to turn back, but they found that there was no way back at all. The way into the Rift Valley had been blocked. Since there's no way back, let's kill our way in. Just like the illusion just now. As long as we pass, we can get a reward. We can take it to increase our strength. Let's kill. Night Sorrow found that there was no way out. He took out the golden heavenly halberd and activated the green phoenix armor. Dancing Woman heard Night Sorrow's words and also said, "Then let's kill." Kill. Su Lei, who was originally a little nervous, had no energy to think about other things at this time. He took out a short sword and followed behind Night Sorrow, rushing toward the wandering walking corpses. As the battle began, Night Sorrow soon found that the walking corpses in front of them did not have much combat power at all. The three of them fought until the sky was dark, but the battle was very easy. They were not threatened at all, and they did not suffer any injuries. He immediately said, "It shouldn't be so easy to break through such a large-scale illusion. Don't be careless. I also feel that it's a little strange. But since they don't have the ability to stop us, let's continue forward." Dancing Woman shouted and took the lead to charge into the depths of the Rift Valley. However, until they reached the end of the Rift Valley, they could already see the location of the exit, but they still did not encounter much resistance. Night Sorrow said doubtfully, "That's not right. This Rift Valley can't be passed so easily. Let's stop. Don't rush toward the exit." Although he could not see what was at the exit, he knew that it was so simple ahead, which meant that there must be great danger waiting for them. Chapter 32-37. They're here. As soon as Night Sorrow finished speaking, Dancing Lady looked at the exit of the Rift Valley with a solemn expression. "What's here?" Su Lei asked nervously. "Master, the problem we need to solve. There are three of them. They are very strong, we have to be careful." After saying that, Hasa Woman completely released her divine realm. She burned her bloodline power and performed the 1,000 illusion eyes. She was ready to fight with her life on the line. They are indeed very strong. 1 upper heavenly supreme and 2 middle heavenly sovereigns. I'll deal with the upper heavenly supreme. As for the other 2, each of you will take 1. After a while, when the enemies were close, Night Sorrow had already seen their figures. They were 3 corpse kings that looked similar to ordinary cultivators. Although these 3 corpse kings looked similar to Night Sorrow on the surface, they appeared to be male cultivators with delicate features. However, their bodies emitted a strong corpse aura. The corpse aura was thousands of times stronger than the aura of the battlefield of the Killer Heaven, and it was mixed with a strong stench. Night Sorrow, who was investigating, felt very uncomfortable. At this moment, Su Lei also noticed the 3 corpse kings in front of her. Compared to the panic when she entered the battlefield of the Killer Heaven, she had regained her usual calmness. She said sternly, "I'll deal with the one on the right." Dancing Lady said, "In my opinion, it's better for us to choose a group battle. After all, we have practiced joint attack techniques and joint attack formations. They definitely won't. That's our advantage." That works too." Night Sorrow, who had been prepared to directly attack the upper heavenly supreme corpse kings, heard Dancing Lady's words and immediately felt that it made sense. Therefore, he did not pull away from the two women. Under the suppression of Dancing Lady's thousand illusion eyes, Night Sorrow directly shot out the Roaring Flames demon-subduing spear. It bombarded the three corpse kings. The Roaring Flames demon-subduing spear looked very beautiful, but it was not very powerful. It was Night Sorrow's test of the three corpse kings. After the flames burned the sky, the three corpse kings, who were originally dressed in ordinary clothes, immediately had black battle armor on their bodies. It was unknown what material this battle armor was made of. When the flames burned on it, it was directly absorbed. At this moment, the upper heavenly sovereign corpse king in the middle said coldly, "I'll give the three of you a chance. Stay here forever and pledge your loyalty to us. Otherwise, your soul will be destroyed." "Swear allegiance to you corpse kings? Will I become a corpse like you?" Yi Shan laughed coldly and said, "I'm not interested. Let's fight." "You two lower heavenly sovereigns and a half-step heavenly sovereign aren't qualified for me to take action." Upon hearing Night Sorrow's words, the upper heavenly sovereign corpse king in the middle said disdainfully, "You two, quickly kill the three of them. This emperor will support you. You're just a corpse. How dare you be so arrogant?" After the strongest corpse king finished speaking, he stepped back to watch the battle, which made Dancing Woman unhappy. Su Lei was also enraged. Without saying a word, she stabbed her sword towards one of the corpse kings. Her sword carried a trace of the aura of an emperor. After stabbing out, a dragon's roar was heard. "If this king is not mistaken, you should have been an emperor." "Very good." Seeing that Su Lei's attack contained a dragon's roar and a weak aura of an emperor, the corpse king that was attacked by her, after saying this hoarsely, it grabbed at Su Lei's sword with its cracked claws. Although Su Lei's sword was extremely fast, it was still caught by the corpse king and was broken. What a strong strength! Seeing that Su Lei's divine weapon was broken, Night Sorrow murmured. He waved his golden heavenly halberd and attacked with the divine spear. At this moment he did not activate the Treastrimsa battle secret technique, nor did he use the annihilation absolute art. However, it was still much stronger than Su Lei's attack. Facing this attack, the corpse king that was attacked still used its claws to scratch, but it was stabbed and green blood flowed out. This green blood contained a large number of corpse worms. As the blood flowed out, these corpse worms all flew out and attacked Night Sorrow. It looked very disgusting. On the other side, Dancing Woman was fighting with another corpse king. Seeing that Dancing Woman was in a tight spot, Night Sorrow transmitted his voice to Su Lei. "The two of you fight the other corpse king together. Leave the one in front to me. To deal with the two in front of us, we don't need to use the combined attack technique. Leave the combined attack technique to the last corpse emperor." "Alright. I'll go and help." Hearing Night Sorrow's transmission, Su Lei immediately went to help Dancing Woman. Night Sorrow faced the corpse king, and the large number of corpse worms alone. "You're not bad. An Earth Sovereign can actually hurt this king. After this king kills you, he will refine you into the most perfect corpse demon." The corpse king roared hoarsely and rushed towards Night Sorrow with the corpse worms that filled the sky. He chose close combat, which was also his forte. Shameless boasting. After being killed, you can only live in the illusion. Where did you get your confidence from? In the face of the corpse king's provocation, Night Sorrow replied disdainfully and used the Qingxian godly spear technique to fight with him. After using the Qingxian godly spear technique, he quickly gained the upper hand. But the corpse king in front of him, after completely exploding, had a shocking defensive power. Although he was able to beat it back, he couldn't hurt it at all. As for the corpse worms that filled the sky, they couldn't break Night Sorrow's protective divine domain at all, so they were no threat. "You're also very confident, but your attacks don't have much power. You can't hurt this king at all. If you continue like this, you'll definitely die from exhaustion." The corpse king, who had raised his defensive power to the strongest, noticed that Su Lei and Dancing Woman couldn't suppress the other corpse king, and immediately roared confidently, "You're thinking too much. Destroy the heavens and earth." In the face of the corpse king's provocation, Night Sorrow smiled coldly. At this moment he didn't activate any state, nor did he use his most powerful attack. After thinking for a while, he decided to test out Annihilation's unique skill, destroy the heavens and earth. After learning this move, he hadn't used it in actual combat, so he didn't know how effective it was. After responding to the Corpse King in front of him, he used it. When the complete version of Destroy the Heavens and Earth was used, Night Sorrow immediately felt his whole body go crazy. A thought of destroying the world rose in his heart. Not long after, he went completely crazy and attacked the Corpse King with incomparable frenzy, almost unable to control his mind. Let him be. Let's see how crazy this Destroy the Heavens and Earth can be. Night Sorrow knew that this wasn't good for him. Logically speaking, he should use the power of merit to alleviate it. But he wanted to know how far Destroy the Heavens and Earth could go. So he didn't control himself and fought crazily. After being controlled by Destroy the Heavens and Earth, he used the 9 steps of the Defiant Heavens and the Qingxian Godly Spear technique. His attack speed and strength increased by more than 10 times. He became very powerful and soon completely suppressed the Corpse King in front of him. Chapter 32-38. Strong. Indeed very strong. It's just that it's easy to lose yourself in the crazy attacks. After suppressing the Corpse King, Night Sorrow's speed and attack strength continued to increase. Gradually, Night Sorrow discovered that there was no end to this increase. If he was willing, he could increase it to a state where he couldn't withstand it and directly explode. This was naturally not what he wanted to see. Thus, he secretly used the power of virtue to slow down the momentum, stabilizing the speed and attack strength at around 30 times. On the surface, this looked similar to the 33 Heavens battle secret technique. In fact, Night Sorrow was also supported by the potential battle intent of Armageddon. Thus, the two were not on the same level. And the Corpse King, who was continuously attacked by Night Sorrow, was soon beaten to the point where he couldn't fight back. He couldn't help but cry for help. "Emperor, save me. I'm not his match." "If you're not his match, then accept the fate of being killed," the Corpse Emperor said coldly to the Corpse King's cry for help. He had no intention of helping at all. It seems that the setting is to first kill the 2 Corpse Kings, and then kill the strongest Corpse Emperor. This is something that the Corpse Emperor in front of us can't change. If the 3 of them attack together, it's really difficult for us to deal with them. After the Corpse Emperor spoke, Night Sorrow immediately understood what was going on. In the situation where the victory was already decided, he transmitted to Su Lei and Dancing Woman, who also had the advantage, and said, "Don't be in a hurry to kill them. Try to recover as much divine origin power as possible. I think that if we kill these 2 in front of us, we'll definitely fight with the Corpse Emperor." "Alright. We're afraid that the Corpse Emperor will come out to help, so we're going all out." Dancing Woman, who was also excited to kill, only now noticed that Night Sorrow had already beaten the Corpse King in front of them to a pulp. After that, he had the ability to kill, but he didn't use his ultimate skill. Then, together with Su Lei, she swallowed a medicinal dan to recover. When the 3 of them killed the 2 Corpse Kings in front of them, they had basically recovered to their peak state. Only he suffered a trace of backlash from Armageddon, and the negative emotions in his heart were unceasing. He had the feeling of wanting to destroy the world. But this kind of emotion, he quickly suppressed it with the power of virtue. Xiaochen thought to himself, "If I don't have the power of beneficence and recklessly use destruction of heaven and earth, I'll probably go crazy sooner or later. The 3 of you killed 2 of this emperor's servants. Prepare to accept this emperor's punishment." At this moment, the Corpse Emperor slowly flew over and roared sternly, "Only we can punish you. You don't have the chance to punish us." Facing the strongest Corpse Emperor in the Rift Valley, Night Sorrow immediately activated the Treastrimsa battle technique and the Azure Phoenix battle armor. He understood that the Corpse Emperor in front of him was definitely much stronger than the 2 Corpse Kings combined. He transmitted his voice to the 2 girls. "Unleash your strongest attacks, and use a combined attack." "Alright." Su Lei responded and immediately transformed into Yu Jia. They soared into the sky. Whirling Woman withdrew her 1,000 illusion eyes. He gathered his energy and unleashed Descent of all evils at the Corpse Emperor. "What kind of move is this?" Seeing that Hassa woman was using all evil, the zombie emperor, who had been standing still, immediately appeared behind Hassa woman in a flash. However, the dancing woman's descent of all evils didn't even have time to react before it slammed into the ground of the Rift Valley. Be careful, Hassa! Seeing that the corpse emperor had appeared behind Hassa woman, he wanted to destroy her. Knight Sorrow immediately used the divine finger, because at this moment, he didn't even have the chance to use the divine spear. Facing the attack of the divine finger, the corpse emperor gave up the idea of attacking Hassa woman and used his movement technique to dodge again. At this moment, Sulai was spitting out flames in a large area below. However, the corpse emperor was too fast. Even the flames that filled the sky were easily dodged. Seeing his performance, Hassa woman frowned and said, "Night demon, Sulai and I can't keep up with the corpse emperor's speed at all. We can't attack him. It's up to you. If you can't attack him, then we definitely can't break out." This corpse emperor is indeed not ordinary. Although he hasn't attacked yet, his attack power is definitely not weak. How about this? You and Sulai enter my space grotto heaven. Watch my battle with the corpse emperor. Knight Sorrow could use the sea serpent's eye to observe that the corpse emperor was not simple. He could easily dodge Sulai and Hassa woman's attacks, and he had a lot of room to spare. Even if Sulai and Hassa woman's speed increased by 10 times, it shouldn't have much effect. Under such circumstances, Knight Sorrow directly kept them in his space grotto heaven. Keeping them in the grotto heaven was also to conceal the existence of the power of merit. Then he activated the destruction of heaven and earth and burned his bloodline power, and activated the power of merit. He raised his strength to the strongest state in his life, and continuously used the 12-word formula, together with the divine origin trap array and the power of merit trap array, to control the corpse emperor's speed. Then he used the supreme dragon subduing technique, summoned the Kuan Prung, and let it feign an attack. He held the golden heavenly halberd and used the Qingxian divine spear technique to attack the corpse emperor. The golden heavenly halberd even turned golden, due to the purification of the power of merit. Impossible. You are just an earth sovereign. How can you burst out with such speed? Your speed can already surpass 90% of upper heavenly sovereigns. Under the support of the destruction of heaven and earth and the Treastrimsa battle secret technique, Knight Sorrow's speed had completely surpassed the corpse emperor, who was affected by the word formula and the trap array. Under such circumstances, the corpse emperor, who was forced to fight Knight Sorrow head-on, said in disbelief, "Nothing is impossible, only you haven't seen it before." Knight Sorrow replied coldly. After fighting for a while, he realized that the golden heavenly halberd was almost unable to hurt the corpse emperor. Thus, he summoned the ancient coffin from the space. He smashed the corpse emperor fiercely. After being smashed by the ancient coffin, how could the corpse emperor withstand it? Soon he was smashed into ashes. After completely killing him, Knight Sorrow and the golden heavenly halberd absorbed the aura of the ancient coffin again, and turned into the appearance of the cultivators in the foggy area. Only then did he summon Sulai and Hassa woman. He divided the rewards equally between the two of them and said, "This is the reward, we each have a portion." He didn't leave any for himself. The battle that Sulai and Hassa woman saw in the grotto heaven just now wasn't real, but in general it was similar to a real battle. They knew that Knight Sorrow's victory didn't come easily. They said in unison, "We didn't help much in this battle. You should take the reward yourself." "No need. My cultivation has already stagnated at the peak of Earth Sovereign. Taking these rewards won't have any effect at all. It's better for the two of you to take them," Knight Sorrow said unquestionably. Then he looked at the surrounding environment and said, "Now that we have left the Rift Valley, I have suffered a great backlash and need some time to recover. I will set up a concealment array and recover here. When I recover, we will continue to move towards the ancient ruins." Chapter 32-39. The recoil brought by the destruction of heaven and earth would affect one's emotions, divine soul, and body. In the process of battle, Knight Sorrow was suppressing his negative emotions. After setting up the concealment array, He sat cross-legged on the ground and used the power of merit to secretly repair the effects on his divine soul and body. Seeing Knight Sorrow sit down quietly, Sule said gratefully, "No matter what this time, I have to thank you. I'll protect you." Although Dancing Lady did not say anything, she opened her eyes and carefully observed the surroundings to prevent the enemy from attacking. In this battlefield, the most terrifying enemy was not the illusion, but the other people of Luteon Academy. These people were both geniuses and murderous maniacs. If they encountered weak or injured people, they would definitely kill them mercilessly. After being on guard for an hour, and not finding any traces of the enemy, Dancing Lady was a little tired, and temporarily put away her vigilant eyes. Looking at Sule, she said, "Sule, I used too much energy during the battle. Now that I've been on guard for so long, I can't hold on any longer. I also need to rest for a while. You can protect us." "Okay, I'll protect you. But I don't have special eyes, so the range of my vigilance is limited," Sule responded and then explained. Hearing this, Dancing Lady smiled and said, "It should be fine. After all, I was on guard for an hour and didn't find anything. Besides, I'll be able to recover soon." "Okay. Hurry up and recover. Night Devil is our savior. We still need to be on guard for him." Sule nodded and said. Dancing Lady was relieved to recover. At this moment, an elder in Sule's space cave said, "Sule, right now Night Devil and Dancing Lady are not in good condition. It's a good opportunity for us to control them and force them to obey the organization. Let us out." "Elder, Night Sorrow just saved my life. I can't harm him." Hearing this elder's words, Sule immediately refused. She was loyal to the organization, but she felt that she could not do such an ungrateful thing. "Sule, have you forgotten who helped you and avenged you when your dynasty was destroyed and your family was slaughtered?" After Sule responded, the elder named Lung Tu continued. "Elder, Sule was not an ungrateful person. However, the night demon had just saved me, and I had attacked him. This was repaying kindness with enmity. Besides, the two of you might not be a match for him." Sule continued to respond. Hearing this, Lung Tu immediately exploded with rage and said, "Bastard! Right now, the night demon and the whirling woman are recovering. They are not on guard against you at all. If the three of us launch a sneak attack at the same time, they'll definitely suffer heavy injuries. At that time, they'll be at our mercy. Elder Lung Tu, I once lost to the night demon in a bet. I swore that if I were to harm him, I would immediately suffer the wrath of the heavens. If he were to attack it now, he would immediately be struck by the heavenly Tao. Is the organization willing to sacrifice me for the night demon?" At this moment, Sule said word by word. "To the organization, the night demon's value is thousands of times greater than yours. Sacrificing you is nothing. Don't forget the oath you made when you joined us. Do it." Lung Tu said word by word. "I, Sule, once made a vow to the heavenly Tao. If the organization doesn't let me down, I will never betray the organization. I will follow all the organization's orders. But what you're saying now, are you worthy of me? Let me tell you, from today onwards, I, Sule, will withdraw from your nameless and cold-blooded organization." Sule said coldly. At this moment, although he did not make any movements, a strong murderous aura exploded from his body. "Sule, how dare you choose to betray us? You're courting death." Lung Tu, who was in Sule's space cave, roared loudly. He took out a hairpin and silently chanted a spell. After Lung Tu silently chanted the spell, Sule immediately covered his head and fell to the ground, wailing in pain. Do you think that just because we're in your space cave, we'll be suppressed by you? Dream on. When you joined the organization, we already did something to you. This jade hairpin spell can take your life. Don't make a fuss and let us out quickly." After Sule fell to the ground and wailed, Lung Tu immediately threatened. They knew that if things were delayed for a little while, Night Sorrow and the whirling woman would have a chance to recover. "Even if I die, I won't let you out. If you have the ability, kill me." At this moment, Sule was in so much pain that sweat flowed down his forehead. He looked like a woman in labor. This was immediately noticed by Night Sorrow. He immediately transmitted his voice. "Sule, what's wrong?" The two elders of the organization behind me wanted to come out of my space cave to deal with you while you were recovering. I didn't want to, so they used the Jade Hairpin spell to deal with me. Now I beg you one thing. After I die, absorb my bloodline. Don't let the bloodline of Yujia be lost. Su Lei, whose forehead was full of sweat, had the ability to transmit his voice. However, he did not have the ability to deal with Lung Tu and Zhao Ning in the space cave. He felt that he would definitely die. At this moment, Night Sorrow transmitted his voice again. No matter who is in your space cave, let them out first. I have the ability to deal with them. He cultivated the power of merit, and could tell that Su Lei was not lying. He was somewhat touched. He felt that it was good that he did not get the heart of a wolf for treating Su Lei and the whirling woman sincerely. But the two of them are very strong. They are both middle heavenly sovereigns, close to upper heavenly sovereigns. Su Lei reminded him worriedly. In her interactions with Night Sorrow and the whirling woman, she felt that they were friends. That was something she did not have in the organization. Her temperament had changed greatly, and she did not want to hurt the two of them. Don't worry. Didn't the Corpse Emperor, an upper heavenly sovereign in the illusion, die at my hands? Two middle heavenly sovereigns are nothing. Night Sorrow said confidently. Then he continued. Besides, Whirling Woman is ready now. We have a good chance of winning. You don't have to fight to the death with them. All right then. Even if I have to fight to the death, I will make sure that they hurt the two of you. Seeing that Night Sorrow was so determined, Su Lei transmitted his voice to Lung Tu. Don't torture me anymore. I'll let you out. I'll let you out. Humph, bitch. If you knew this would happen, you wouldn't have done it in the first place. After getting an affirmative answer, Lung Tu scolded disdainfully. Zhao Ning transmitted her voice. Lung Tu, it's not good to fall out with her like this. In the future, we will have one less pawn in the Killer Heaven Academy. Don't worry. She's not the only pawn. One of our pawns is in the Killer Heaven battlefield now. When we get out, we'll send him a message and summon him. As long as we can make the Night Demon and the Whirling Woman submit, losing Su Lei is nothing, Lung Tu said maliciously. Chapter 3240. What you said makes sense. The Night Demon's value is far greater than Su Lei's. This is worth taking a gamble on. When will Bing Han arrive? Zhao Ning immediately asked after hearing Lung Tu's words. Bing Han was one of their organization's pawns in Lutian Academy. He had entered Lutian Academy 2 batches earlier than Night Sorrow. He was now a middle heavenly sovereign, but his strength was similar to an ordinary upper heavenly sovereign. He was the 4th genius in their batch. Bitch, what are you waiting for? Let us out. Lung Tu shouted angrily when Su Lei still did not let the two of them out. I'll let you out. I'll let you out now. Su Lei pretended to be weak and said. He then let Lung Tu and Zhao Ning out of his space hollow. Let's attack the Night Demon together. As long as we control him, the swaying lady will not be a threat at all. The moment he was let out, Lung Tu sent a message to Zhao Ning and took out a divine weapon in the shape of a mountain. He controlled it and pressed it towards Night Sorrow, who was not far away. Do we need to hold back? As for Zhao Ning, he asked Lung Tu if he should use all his strength. He was afraid that the two middle heavenly sovereigns would kill Night Sorrow directly. Lung Tu, who was attacking Night Sorrow, smiled and said, There's no need for that. As long as you don't destroy his elixir field and spiritual soul. You guys are thinking too much. Hearing their conversation, Yishang sneered and used the 9 steps of the Defiant Heaven to dodge. However, the mountain that Lung Tu had summoned had the effect of confinement, which greatly reduced his speed. Zhao Ning seized the opportunity and used the divine weapon, Fish Shadow Sword, to stab out 99 times. What a fast sword move. Zhao Ning's sword was extremely fast. If not for the sea serpent's eye, Night Sorrow would not have been able to see it clearly. At this moment, although he could see it clearly, it was unrealistic for him to shoot out hundreds of times in an instant to block it. He roared and immediately used the golden heavenly halberd to attack with the roaring flame demon spear. He used a large area of flames to burn the sword shadows that Zhao Ning had shot out. However, the effect was not very good. It was unable to block these sword shadows. After that, Night Sorrow added in the combination of the 3 words of frozen ice, greatly reducing the speed of the sword shadow. Then he easily dodged the attack. Kid, you've got some skills. As expected of the person that the organization spent so much effort to get. Lung Tu praised Night Sorrow for being able to easily dodge Zhao Ning's sword shadow, even under the pressure of the mountain peak. Then he sneered and said, however, in front of us brothers, these are simply insignificant tricks. Now I'll show you what the true difference in strength is. After he finished speaking, Lung Tu's body, which didn't look very muscular, suddenly swelled up in an instant. His entire body seemed to have turned into a piece of black iron, full of power. He sent a telepathic message to Zhao Ning, instructing her to be in charge of suppressing him with spells. Then he approached Night Sorrow, clearly intending to engage in close combat. Don't worry. I will suppress him and guard against Hasa at the same time. Zhao Ning made a sound of agreement, then used an ultimate technique on Yi Shang. This secret technique was called Netherworld. It was a type of illusion. He wanted to use this illusion to distract Night Sorrow. At the same time, he chose to attack Hasa first and stabbed her dozens of times in a row. Although there weren't many sword shadows this time, the attack power was much stronger. It was to directly kill Hasa. However, after the sword shadows stabbed Hasa, Zhao Ning was shocked to discover that what he stabbed was an illusion. At this time, Hasa had already disappeared. Do you think I will sit there and wait for your attack? Just as Zhao Ning realized that he had missed, Hasa, who was hidden in the void, suddenly attacked him with the descent of all evil. She had been preparing this move for a long time. The figure that was hit just now was her projection. It was not real at all. Descent of all evil? I think I've heard of it. Facing Hasa's descent of all evil, the thought in Zhao Ning's mind disappeared in a flash and he was directly hit. It turned out that Hasa's sneak attack also borrowed the strength of an illusion. By the time Zhao Ning reacted, this move was already close to his body. I'm not injured. After being hit by descent of all evil, Zhao Ning found that he was not injured. At first, it could be that his body was strong enough to withstand Hasa's attack. But soon, he realized that something was wrong. After being hit by descent of all evil, he was immediately plagued by bad luck. His body was suffused with an evil black light. It was not as simple as his glabella turning black. There was not a single spot on his body that was unharmed. After confirming that Zhao Ning had been hit, Hasa sent a voice transmission to Night Sorrow. Night Demon, I will deal with this one in front of me. He has been hit by descent of all evil, and is definitely not my match. You can deal with the other one with ease. It's best to end the battle quickly to avoid any more trouble. Okay. I will deal with him as soon as possible. Night Sorrow, who responded, felt a headache at this time. This was because Lung Tu's body was too strong. Fighting with him put a lot of pressure on him. If he wanted to end the battle quickly, he would have to take out the ancient coffin. But recently he had been relying on the ancient coffin, which made Night Sorrow feel a little uncomfortable. He felt that he could not use that thing in battle. So he did not take it out now. Instead, he used destruction of heaven and earth at the same time as he used the Treastrimsa battle secret technique. With the golden heavenly halberd in his hand, he fought with Lung Tuesday. Night Sorrow, who had gone crazy, was not inferior to Lung Tu in terms of strength. With the help of the 100 words mantra, he had a slight advantage. But this Lung Tu in front of him had extremely high defense. He really could not finish him off in a short time. At this time, Su Lei, who was lying on the ground, suddenly sent a voice transmission to Night Sorrow. You and Hasa better finish off the two in front of you quickly. From what I know, that organization still has a few people in Lutian Academy. If we delay for too long, their reinforcements might come. At this time, she was still being tortured by Lung Tuesday. She was extremely uncomfortable, but she could not die even if she wanted to. Not to mention getting up to fight. Thank you for the reminder. Night Sorrow, who had not thought about this, was reminded. After thinking for a while, he realized that things were not as simple as they seemed. Logically speaking, when entering the border of Lutian's battlefield, one could use the space hollow to bring people in. But when entering the core area of the battlefield, One could not bring unrelated people in. And Su Lei had brought Lung Tu and Zhao Ning in without being discovered. This meant that the organization had already figured out a way to avoid Lu Tian Academy's investigation. If there were reinforcements, they might bring a lot of helpers. That would be extremely dangerous. After thinking it through, Night Sorrow immediately sent a voice transmission to Hasa Lady. The two of us should finish off the two of them as soon as possible. Then bring Su Lei away. Alright. He's been hit by my descent of all evils. He shouldn't be able to hold on for long. Hasa Lady replied when she heard Night Sorrow's voice transmission. She knew that Night Sorrow never talked nonsense. He must have his reasons for saying this. Chapter 3241. After replying to Night Sorrow, Dancing Lady executed Thousand Illusion Eyes and launched a frenzied bombardment at Zhao Ning, facing the bombardment of thousands of black holes in the void. Originally, Zhao Ning had the ability to dodge all of them, but after being hit by Descent of All Evil and being plagued by bad luck, he became extremely unlucky. No matter how perfect his movement technique was executed, he would always be hit by accidents. He could not dodge no matter what, making him very uncomfortable. Under Dancing Lady's non-stop bombardment, Zhao Ning soon could not hold on and transmitted his voice to Lung Tu. Elder Lung, I've been hit by her ultimate art. Now that I'm plagued by bad luck, I can't dodge her attacks. Hurry up and finish off Night Devil, and come over to help me. Why don't you think about it? If Night Devil was easier to deal with than Dancing Lady, would he be designated as a top target by the organization? This elder isn't feeling good right now either. Hold on, as long as we wait for reinforcements, we can win. Lung Tu heard Zhao Ning's voice transmission and replied huffily. Although his body's strength was very impressive, Night Sorrow was not to be outdone. Especially when he executed Apocalypse, it really had a kind of apocalyptic aura. It was simply as if he had transformed into a war god. At this time, Lung Tu was already completely suppressed. He only had the strength to retaliate, and did not have the ability to parry. He was rather passive. How could he have the ability to help Zhao Ning? I didn't expect that these two people are so impressive. It can't be measured with cultivation at all. We can only wait for Isihan to arrive. When he brings people over, these two people in front of us definitely won't be a match. Hearing Lung Tu's words, Zhao Ning, who only looked at Night Sorrow, was immediately surprised with this look. He discovered that the current Night Sorrow had an invincible concept on him, like a celestial god descending to the mortal world. He immediately understood that it was already not easy for Lung Tu to be able to hold on bitterly. Isihan transmitted his voice. He still has 100 breaths of time to arrive. Elder Zhao Ning, you have to hold on no matter what. Right at this time, Lung Tu, who was originally suppressed by Night Sorrow, suddenly became spirited and transmitted his voice over. Hearing this, Zhao Ning's aura immediately rose too. While dodging Dancing Lady's attacks, he started organizing a counterattack. The current him did not care about Divine Essence energy consumption at all, and brought out a desperate aura. In the face of Zhao Ning's crazy counterattack, the limited dancing woman couldn't do anything to him. Thus he sent a voice transmission to Night Sorrow. Night Demon, he and I are already evenly matched. I'm afraid it will be difficult for me to defeat him in a short period of time. It's up to you now. Good. My opponent shouldn't be able to hold on for long. After replying to Hasa, Night Sorrow hesitated for a moment before summoning the disguised Dragon of Virtue. Let the Dragon of Merit help Su Lei cleanse his pain. While helping to purify the pain, he was also preparing to completely purify it. He wanted her to sever all ties with the organization and the fog. What kind of method is this? No, we can't let him succeed. After discovering that Night Sorrow had summoned the Dragon of Virtue, his suppression on Su Lei was dispelled. Lung Tu was immediately puzzled. He understood that if Su Lei recovered, in a 3-against-2 situation, he and Zhao Ning would definitely not be a match. Thus, he immediately sent out a clone to attack Su Lei, preparing to kill Su Lei. I've been waiting for this moment. At this moment, Night Sorrow had already predicted that Lung Tu would do this. He kept Su Lei in his own space and allowed him to avoid Lung Tu's attack. in the moment of Lung Tu's clone. He summoned the Eternal Divine Tower and attacked. At the same time, he used the Supreme Dragon Subduing Technique and summoned the Kuan Peng. On the other hand, he continuously used the 12-word technique. He also used the Nirvana Heartfire. After using all these, he continued to use the 9 steps of the Heaven-Defying Technique and attacked Lung Tu. Not good. I was careless. In the face of such a dense attack, Lung Tu was flustered and somewhat regretted attacking Su Lei. This caused him to be in a mess. I've even brewed the Nirvana Heartfire. What else do you have to resist? Night Sorrow understood that Lung Tu's body was very strong, and was already stronger than most Sky Sovereigns. However, the strength of his soul was obviously not so exaggerated. After blocking other attacks and being hit by the Nirvana Heartfire, his soul couldn't withstand it. Lung Tu's soul was broken, and he was instantly defeated. He couldn't withstand Night Sorrow's other attacks, and was soon beaten by Night Sorrow to the point that he couldn't fight back. He sent a message to Zhao Ning and asked for help. Elder Zhao Ning, save me. Save me. Sigh. I can't even protect myself. I don't have the ability to save you. Looks like we can't hold on until Binghan arrives. Zhao Ning replied weakly. At this moment, he was attacking with all his might and could barely suppress Dancing Lady. The situation looked good, but in reality, he didn't have any advantage. A single slip really brings everlasting sorrow. Facing Night Sorrow and Dancing Lady, the two of them couldn't see any hope of winning. Lung Tu immediately sent a message to Binghan. Binghan, you don't have to rush over. Elder Zhao Ning and I can't hold on anymore. The destination of the Night Demon and Su Lei was the Sovereign Heaven Origin Pill. You can just bring your men to the ancient site and wait. 2 elders. I'll avenge you. Binghan, who was rushing in this direction, immediately replied sinisterly when he heard this. At this moment, Night Sorrow and Dancing Lady realized that Lung Tu and Zhao Ning seemed to have lost their courage to fight back. Night Sorrow, who was about to kill the two of them, immediately sent a message to Dancing Lady. Don't kill them. Capture them. Alright. The two of them should have accomplices in the Killer Heaven battlefield. Capture the two of them should be useful. Dancing Lady, who heard Night Sorrow's message, immediately understood Night Sorrow's intention. With Night Sorrow's help, they easily captured Lung Tu and Zhao Ning, and kept them in Night Sorrow's spatial hollow. After killing the two of them, Night Sorrow immediately went to check on Su Lei's condition. Lung Tu was controlled, and the curse in Su Lei's body was immediately lifted. The remaining dark aura was completely purified by Night Sorrow. What's going on? After Night Sorrow had completely purified Su Lei, many memories suddenly appeared in Su Lei's mind. At this moment, she realized that she was not from the foggy area, nor was she from the Eternal Supreme World. Instead, she was from a hidden world adjacent to the Eternal Supreme World. The name of this world was the Eternal Ancient Barren World. It had existed for much longer than the Eternal Supreme World. Because it had not been discovered by the foggy area, it had not been conquered. Su Lei was originally the emperor there. Later, there was suddenly a strong enemy there, and all of Su Lei's people were killed. At this time, people from the organization appeared and brought her to the foggy area. Step by step, she grew to what she was now. Su Lei, what's wrong with you? Did you remember something? Seeing Su Lei's strange expression, Night Sorrow suddenly asked in confusion. Night Demon, I'm not from the foggy area. I'm also not from the Eternal Supreme World. After a moment of silence, Su Lei suddenly spoke. Chapter 3242. What? You're not from the Eternal Supreme World, nor are you from the foggy area. Then where are you from? Are you from the Deceiving Tribe? Night Sorrow immediately asked when he heard Su Lei's words. So far, aside from the Eternal Supreme Realm and the Misty Region, the only people Night Sorrow knew of from the other realms were the Heaven Deceivers. Hearing this, Su Lei immediately denied. I'm not from the Deceiving Tribe. I'm from the Eternal Ancient Barren World. Eternal Ancient Barren World? Does it still exist? When Night Sorrow heard this name, he immediately thought of the missing Supreme Longevity and others. He guessed if they had gone there. In my memory, it should exist. But later, I followed the people of the organization to the foggy area. Sulei's memories of his hometown were still from before he went to the foggy area, so he answered truthfully. Do you know how to reach the eternal ancient barren world? Night Sorrow quickly asked. Sulei thought for a moment and said, We can find the entrance. Night Demon, what are you planning to do by asking about this? Some of my family members have gone missing. I can't find them in the eternal supreme world and the foggy area. I suspect that they have gone to other realms. That's why I asked so much when I heard you mention the eternal ancient barren world. Night Sorrow said truthfully, but did not mention that he came from the eternal supreme world. I see. When we leave the battlefield, I'll take you to the eternal ancient barren world. Sulei, who was still a little weak, promised. Seeing that Sulei's breath was very weak, Night Sorrow continued. You should recover in my grotto heaven first. When you're almost recovered, come out and fight side by side with us. Pasua and I will continue our journey. Okay. Sulei responded and prepared to take the elixir and start his cultivation. But at this time he suddenly thought of the organization behind him and said, That's right. Night Demon. In the organization behind me, there seems to be an expert half a step to the supreme realm. And they've been to the eternal ancient barren world. If you go, you might encounter danger. After all, they want to deal with you. Don't worry, as long as I can advance to the heavenly supreme in the battlefield, I can go. Have a good rest and leave the rest to me and Pasua. Night Sorrow said. Then he looked at Dancing Woman, who was looking at him in confusion and said, Let's go. What were you talking to Sulei about? How is she? Dancing Woman guessed that Night Sorrow must be talking to Sulei, so she asked curiously. I asked about her injuries and some things about her hometown. By the way, where is your hometown? Night Sorrow replied before changing the topic. Isn't my hometown the foggy area? Our clan is the original inhabitants of the fog zone. But now, this is the world of the three supreme venerables. We only have our clan and no home. Swaying Woman said unwillingly. The natives of the foggy area were actually very dissatisfied with the three supreme venerables. However, due to the difference in strength, they did not dare to voice their anger. If I attack the three supreme monarchs one day, will you and your people do the same? Night Sorrow asked with a smile as he flew towards the ancient ruins. You can't say that casually. Swaying Woman did not answer this question, nor did she ask anything. Together with Night Sorrow, she flew towards the ancient ruins. Not long after, the two of them encountered another illusion. In the illusion, there were countless wandering souls of lower heavenly sovereigns. Originally, Night Sorrow and Swaying Woman had some difficulty dealing with them. However, at this time, the lower half of the Eternal Divine Tower took action and absorbed all the wandering souls, turning them into energy. As a result, this illusion became the easiest one for Night Sorrow to pass. Swaying Woman received the reward of this illusion. After swallowing it, she suddenly advanced to a middle heavenly sovereign. She became the second person to advance to a middle heavenly sovereign in this batch after Gusu. This was a surprise for Night Sorrow. After Swaying Woman finished her tribulation, Night Sorrow looked at her and said, Congratulations, Swaying. If you can get the Supreme Heavenly Origin Pill in the ancient ruins this time, you may advance again. At that time, you can catch up with the students of the previous batches. Even Lin Dongqing might not be a match for you. It is possible to catch up with the others. However, the reason why Lin Dongqing did not advance to a middle heavenly sovereign quickly was not because he did not have the ability to advance. It was because he wanted to strengthen his foundation. Otherwise, he would have the ability to advance to an upper heavenly sovereign long ago. After Night Sorrow finished speaking, Swaying Woman immediately told him the reason why Lin Dongqing did not advance. It turned out that Lin Dongqing had been staying at a lower heavenly sovereign in order to reach the half-step to supreme realm in the future. The truly talented do not need to make any stops. That Lin Dongqing will not have great achievements. Hearing Swaying Woman's words, Night Sorrow said disdainfully. He really did not think highly of Lin Dongqing. Then he continued to ask, "Oh right, Swaying. You have been in Lu Tian Academy for more time than me. Do you know who the true geniuses are in the academy? These things are confidential in the academy. I don't know. However, I heard that there is a middle courtyard in Lutian Academy where the geniuses of the geniuses gather. Those geniuses all have the possibility of advancing to the half-step to Supreme Realm. If you perform well when you leave New Elegant Peak, you should be able to enter that place. Swaying Woman told him what she knew. It seems that the geniuses who have the possibility of advancing to the Supreme Realm must be in this middle courtyard. When Knight Sorrow heard Swaying Woman's words, he immediately became interested in this middle courtyard. After all, his main purpose of sneaking into Lutian Academy was to find a suitable body for supreme longevity. There is a fight ahead. Swaying Woman suddenly spoke when Knight Sorrow was slightly distracted. I don't know who is fighting. Let's go over and take a look. Knight Sorrow, who had regained his senses, said something to Swaying Woman, and took the lead to fly in front. In the process of flying, he used a concealment talisman on himself and Swaying Woman. If a heavenly sovereign used their spiritual energy to investigate, this kind of concealment talisman would be easily detected. However, the people fighting in front of them were focused on the battle, and naturally did not notice it. Soon, Knight Sorrow brought Swaying Woman to a place where he could see clearly with the sea serpent's eye. With this look, Knight Sorrow immediately realized that the people fighting in front of them, one of them was Lin Dongqing and the other students from the previous cohort. Knight Sorrow did not know the other side, but he was sure that they were students from the previous cohort. Their battle was evenly matched, and had reached a white-hot level. Should we help the other side to deal with Lin Dongqing? Swaying Woman immediately asked after seeing the battle situation clearly. No. Elder Su had specially said that Lin Dongqing had extraordinary means. We will wait here and see what he is capable of. Yi Shang replied. Then he and Dancing Woman hid and continued to watch the battle. Chapter 3243. There were a total of 20 people on both sides. At this moment, they were fighting, and from afar, they looked like rings of light. Knight Sorrow and Dancing Woman's gazes were mainly focused on Lin Dongqing, and a male cultivator on the other side. This male cultivator had the strength of an upper heavenly supreme, and he was faintly suppressing Lin Dongqing. Judging from his aura, Lin Dongqing, who had obviously advanced to a middle heavenly supreme, would take out divine artifacts or secret treasures from time to time during the battle to make up for the difference in strength. Under such circumstances, the two were still in a stalemate. If this stalemate continues, Lin Dongqing should be the winner. After all, he still has the trump card that Elder Su mentioned. As he watched the battle, Yi Shang's gaze never left Lin Dongqing's. At this moment, Dancing Woman said, "Oh right. I remember now. The person fighting with Lin Dongqing is called Zhu Ziyuan. He's a student 2 batches higher than us. He's the second person in that batch. As for the first person, he seems to be called Ling Shi. He has already entered the middle of that courtyard. Zhu Ziyuan. Judging from his talent, he should be about the same as Lin Dongqing. But today, I'm afraid he's going to die." After observing for a while, Knight Sorrow concluded, because he used the sea serpent's eye to see that Lin Dongqing had been very relaxed during the battle. There was no smell of a life and death battle at all. On the other hand, Zhu Ziyuan had been in a state of desperation, but in this state, he was still relying on his strength and the sword in his hand. Obviously, he didn't have as many secret treasures as Lin Dongqing. Yes. I can also see that Zhu Ziyuan is weak. I didn't expect Lin Dongqing and the others to be able to defeat their students from the previous batch. Dancing Woman sighed. Even if Elder Su didn't remind them, they could see that Lin Dongqing's side would win. This was eyesight. The suspense now is whether Zhu Ziyuan can force Lin Dongqing to use his trump card. If we can see Lin Dongqing's trump card in advance, it will be much easier in the ancient ruins. Knight Sorrow frowned as he watched Lin Dongqing. At this moment, he suddenly felt a chill in his eyes. The sea serpent's eye had quietly evolved. Looking into the distance, the scene became even clearer. After the evolution, the sea serpent's eye should be able to see more than Wyra. Knight Sorrow turned to look at Swaying Woman. He found that the movements of Lin Dongqing and the others had become much slower in his eyes. Watch out, Lin Dongqing is about to use his trump card. He was forced into a corner by Zhu Ziyuan. Just as Night Sorrow's eyes were evolving, Dancing Woman suddenly reminded him. This was because Zhu Ziyuan had suddenly unleashed his trump card, the Wind and Cloud Sky/Sword. For a moment, Lin Dongqing was suppressed to the point that he could not even raise his head. In this situation, Dancing Woman judged that Lin Dongqing would definitely unleash his final attack. Zhu Ziyuan, you're courting death. As expected. As soon as Swaying Woman finished speaking, Lin Dongqing was completely enraged. Then he took out a horn from the space. After taking it out, Lin Dongqing immediately activated it and attacked Zhu Ziyuan. This is a half-step supreme stage divine artifact. By the time Zhu Ziyuan shouted, it was already too late to dodge. In the blink of an eye, it was blasted into ashes and annihilated. Lin Dongqing's trump card is actually a half-step supreme stage divine artifact, and he can unleash the power of the horn. This threat to us is too great. No wonder Elder Su warned us like that. Looks like we really have to avoid them. Night Sorrow saw the scene of the horn killing the upper heavenly supreme Zhu Ziyuan, and immediately understood that Lin Dongqing's divine artifact was not something he and Swaying Woman could fight against. He sent a voice transmission to Swaying Woman. Let's go around and go to the ancient ruins first. Let's go. Okay. With this half-step supreme stage divine artifact, Lin Dongqing should be invincible in the battlefield of the Killer Heaven. We can only avoid him. Swaying Woman sighed and said, if only Senior Heaven Defying was here. Yes. If Senior Heaven Defying was here, we shouldn't be afraid of Lin Dongqing's half-step supreme stage divine artifact. But it's impossible for him to appear now. Let's go. After Night Sorrow finished speaking, he prepared to retreat with Swaying Woman. Who's watching our battle? But right at this moment, Lin Dongqing suddenly looked over. It turned out that not only did his horn have outstanding attack power, but it was also very observant. Lin Dongqing found us. Enter my space grotto heaven, and I'll take you away. He shouldn't be as fast as me. Hearing Lin Dongqing's roar, Night Sorrow immediately sent a voice transmission to Swaying Woman. He kept her in the space grotto heaven, and flew straight in the direction of the space grotto heaven. You guys take care of these old students. I'll go after the night demon. With the horn's reminder, Lin Dongqing knew that the person watching the battle was Night Sorrow. He used the horn to attack the old students a few times, and then chased after Night Sorrow. That horn seems to be very fast too. Night Sorrow, who was escaping, was very confident in his speed compared to Lin Dongqing's. But soon he realized that Lin Dongqing's horn was faster than him when he used the 9 steps of the Heaven Defying 33 Heavens Battle Mystic Technique. Armageddon. Under these circumstances, Night Sorrow let out a roar and activated his secret battle technique and heaven-destroying earth-extinguishing technique. He increased his speed. In an instant, Lin Dongqing and the horn were far apart. What? Night Demon, that little bastard, is actually so fast. After Night Sorrow activated his status and ran quickly, Lin Dongqing was immediately dumbfounded and urged, speed up and catch up. That little bastard in front killed my Lin family's people, and has a very powerful secret treasure. He must die. Young master, it's not that I don't want to chase, it's that I can't. If I'm not wrong, he should be burning his bloodline power, or using other secret techniques. This speed won't last long. When we reach the ancient ruins, he will definitely find a place to recuperate. When the time comes, I will find him. At this moment, the horn's artifact spirit replied. Night Sorrow's speed was too fast. Even he, a half-step paramount realm, could not catch up. However, he did not lose confidence in catching up. Hearing the horn's artifact spirit's analysis, Lin Dongqing nodded and said, yes. His goal is definitely the same as ours, the Supreme Heaven Origin Pill. Therefore, his destination will be the ancient ruins. Let's turn back and kill the flies from the previous batch first. Then we'll deal with this night demon. After saying that, Lin Dongqing brought the horn back and killed all of Zhu Ziyuan's people with the other students. After this battle, there were not many students from the previous batch left in Lin Dongqing's group. Other than Ling Shi, who had entered the middle courtyard, there were only a few injured people who did not rush over. When Lin Dongqing had killed all the students from the previous batch, Lin Dongqing had killed them all. Night Sorrow had already brought Swaying Woman and Su Lei into the ancient ruins. You're tuning in to the Echoes of the Heart YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.